here in Quincy. If we,
Nobody ever gets it right.
okay, thank you. Would you pronounce it for us?
Chef. Mother chef.
Oh, chef.
Like a cook.
Yes, it doesn't spell that way.
No.
Would you please stand for the invocation, and then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance.
O God, the author of peace and lover of concord, to know you is eternal life, and to serve you is perfect freedom. Holy Father, creator of all things, we come to you today beseeching you to defend us from all spiritual warfare. Preserve us, your humble servants, from all assaults of the evil one. Protect our hearts, protect our souls. Guard us and guide us through this meeting. Hold all of us close and never let us go. Bless those that serve others. Bless us as we endeavor to serve each other. Holy Father, we ask, we beg you to send your Holy Spirit to move among us, to rest his mighty hand of compassion and mercy on our every word, our every action, and our every movement that we make here tonight. Fill us with your wisdom. Fill us with your healing mercies. Fill us with the desire to see each other as you see us, as true brothers and sisters in Christ. Defend us from all evil assaults, and where we, surely trusting in your defense, may stop living in fear and trust in your mighty power of Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who defeated death so that we may live fully into your loving Spirit. It is in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Here.
Here. May I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Harris until his arrival?
So moved. Here he is.
Okay. Now you've been excused. And now we'll have to, have to carry that motion. Approval of the agenda.
I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved in second that we approve the agenda. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Opposers? No. 5-0. The approval of the agenda has carried. Proclamation in celebration of Juneteenth Day observance. Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, and Emancipation Day. Celebrates the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the United States. And whereas the 19th day of June is officially recognized as the day when enslaved people in Texas learned of the 1863 Emancipation Proclamation that had been issued by President Lincoln more than 2 years earlier. And whereas during this time the nation celebrates the accomplishments, inventions, triumphs, resiliency of African Americans, Africans, and black people in this country. And whereas Juneteenth, Freedom Day, became a federal holiday in 2021, the Utah legislature soon followed by passing HB 238 in March of 2022, making Juneteenth, Freedom Day, our newest state holiday. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Beverly Nash, Mayor of the City of Quincy, Florida, along with my colleagues of the City of Quincy Commission, Mayor Pro Tem Lane Stevens, District 4, Commissioner Dr. Robin Wood, District 1, Commissioner Devontae Knight, District 2, and Commissioner Ronte Harris, District 3, and all of the citizens of the City of Quincy, Florida, do proclaim June 19th as Freedom Day in the City of Quincy, Florida, and encourages everyone to celebrate as a day of remembrance. We have a special presentation by Capital Trust Authority providing us an update.
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Dennis.
Yes, Mayor, if I may.
Kenyon.
We received
Okay.
a call from Mr. Dennis. Unfortunately, his child is ill, so he is unable to make it. We found that out about an hour ago. But you do have in your packet a letter, and I will summarize in anticipation of his presentation, because he has a request. As you know, the Capital Trust Authority of Gulf Breeze, that partnership with the City of Quincy has been extremely lucrative. In this fiscal year alone, CTA has provided $170,732 of funding to the City of Quincy as a result of that partnership. They are working on what is to be their largest deal ever, and that deal is expected to be a $950,000 deal. But in order for them to effect that deal, then they are respectfully requesting that we consider, for this one deal only, is reducing our fee by 40%. That will enable them to secure this first-of-a-kind deal for the CTA, but they do have about 15 other projects in the hoppers. So you'll see that request. It's a one-time reduction to equal about 40% of what CTA's final issuer fee would be. And based on that structure, if we lower this deal one time, then the fee we would earn would be about $80,000, as opposed to the next time a deal like this comes through, we will earn about $380,000. So Mr. McKinnon will be giving us a presentation. This is something I want the board to strongly consider, because this has been a great and fruitful partnership, and we look forward to many more such deals with CTA and Gulf Breeze. And best wishes and prayers to Mr. McKinnon and his daughter at this time. That's all I have, Mayor.
I have a question, City Manager.
Yes, ma'am.
What is 40% of the fee? Do we know?
40% of the fee would be $80,000.
It would be out
Yes, so
80,000,
we would
okay.
get $80,000 regardless.
Okay.
But if we did not waive it, then we would be entitled to $380,000. But they've never done a deal with a health care. This is with the University of Florida's Health. And so this would set a standard and put us in position for other such deals once they go through with this one. So it proves that they have a track record of success, and we would definitely benefit for that. So with the reduction, we would only get $80,000 this time, but this is just a one-time request only.
Commissioner Stevens.
I would point out just one correction, and I know it was just a misspeaking by the manager, but you said 950,000, but it's 950 million.
Sorry. Yes. So many zeros.
To show the size of this project.
Yes, it's significant, 950 million. Thank you for the correction.
Any questions? Okay, thank you for that presentation on behalf of Capital Trust Authority. Items for consent. Again, I'd like to pull the March finances. I still did not get the written analysis that I requested on the statement made in the report, financial report, that says that the March 2025 arrears report shows an outstanding amount of $84,224.75, down from $202,800 in the month of February. I see that, I think Mr. Ash is on the program, but that's after we would have approved it. So I'd like to pull it, and because I didn't get that report or that information, and it was not included in our agenda that was sent out.
Madam Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
Staff is prepared to go ahead and give that update to you now, if you would like to.
Uh,
Or do you want to wait until that time?
Yeah, I'd rather wait till that time, but I still wouldn't have had time to review it.
Okay.
That's all. If you give it to us on the dais now, I'll have to follow along with Mr. Ash. And we're requesting it to be approved prior to his presentation.
Right.
Yeah, so I would rather approve it when he gives his presentation, if I don't have any questions,
Okay, sounds good.
or any other commissioner
Thank you.
have any questions. The item left would be the approval of the regular city commission meeting of May 13, 2025. May I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the one item on the consent agenda, which would be the minutes for May 13th. Are you ready for question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposers? Motion passes 5-0. Comments from the audience? Yes, sir. With where to place it? Okay. Okay. I was pulling it so that we could review it or look at it after the report that was not included in the, that was requested back at last month's. No, it'll be where Mr. Ash is with the arrears report. Because I assume, if I'm correct, it relates to the arrears report. Okay, so that'll be 6A. Okay. Dr. Tracy Starworth. You can comment. It's on the agenda. We haven't gotten to it. Evaluation is number 10. Economic development is number 11. You can. Okay. Mr. William Walker.
Button on the microphone. Thank you. Here you are.
Good evening. My name is William Walker. I'm with Gaston County Citizen Review Board. I'm an intake investigator. I want to put the city on notice, Mr. Roberts, city attorney, to let them know that there's an active investigation going on in conspiracy. We also have corruption charges also. We're also here also to remove Mr. Nixon, Ms. Janice, and the city attorney because this is an active investigation. I'm working with the state attorney's office, FDLE, Florida Commission of Election, and Florida Ethics Commission. This is a very serious investigation. We do not want you to remove anybody from this administration until this investigation is over. And confirm, I think, Mr. Robinson, you should know aware of it. I think Chief Hill also know about this investigation. There are some very serious issues going on with this city. There's a lot of commissioners sitting up here that's in very serious trouble. Once again, if you want to talk to me, I advise you, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you need to talk to me, please have an attorney present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Arthur Thomas? Did you have a comment?
My name is Dorothy Thomas, 586 Shallow Road, Quincy, Florida. I think yesterday or maybe the day before, and to the dais, I'm sorry. Glad to be here this afternoon. Glad to see each of you. I had sent a letter out to all the commissioners. Did you receive my letter? It was concerning the manager, Shackelford, and anyone else that at this time, at an early age in time when everyone is just coming in new, and you're talking about releasing people. And we, as the citizens of Gaston County, don't know why. I mean, is it his work ethics? Is it her work ethics? I just want to know why. And I would like to know the plan. You know, I've lived in Quincy all my life. I went to school here. And I've never seen Quincy where it is today. And I am concerned. I love everybody on the board, on the dais. I have nothing against anyone. You all know me. I'm just for what's right. The last time I was at the meeting, I heard all these accolades that, you know, you're going to have a meeting where we listen and we talk, and you have to have 3 meetings. I don't even know the rules. But it just was a little shady to me. And the last meeting, I couldn't make it to the meeting because we had a meeting at the county. I tried to attend both. And I'm just a little disappointed. And I'm just here to voice my opinions tonight that you work for us. The citizens of Gaston County voted you in these positions. And it is so bad when we are here and we have been blindsided of what's going on. And it's not just every meeting that I attend. I just don't know what's going on. So we are here tonight, and we are willing to get signatures or whatever it takes, because I am a little outdone with sending good people away that is doing wonderful work, and you don't even have a plan of who's going to take over. And are they better than them? Who are they? I just want questions answered tonight. Thank you. I do not want to hold up your program, but I'll be here every time you open, because I intend to get answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Emmanuel Sapp?
Emmanuel Sapp, preside at 821 2nd Street. I have several things, but I'm making short for
Just-
1 minute.
Matt, have a second until we can restart the clock. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Sapp.
Yes, ma'am. Should I repeat or what?
Continue.
All right. I have several issues. One is that the budget. I'm consistently concerned with placing items for legal services. Right down the alley that Dr. Woods is explaining about social media. It affected us in sincerely issues prior to April the 29th. And it's so serious into you can't recant misbehavior. You can't recant it. You can't recant it. It's been posted. It's a fact. It's not an allegation anymore. It's a fact. Can't recant it. The other thing is the future, the 5-year plan for the Boys and Girls Club. It should be the YMCA, because it don't stop. The YMCA doesn't stop. It goes from 1 to 100 plus, not just to 13 years old. It is very significant for economic development. It brings on economic development. No one is coming here to invest their monies with a with a meaning of not having upgrowth in economical income for our family. And what the YMCA does is that it deals with the family to upgrow with the educational system for better income as a family. That's when we get economic development, because we have people that's willing to invest because they can sustain being here. That's important. The other matter is if we go in with Robert Rules of Order, every clarity, and not go by the Robert Rules of Order. I love two things. The first would be the Bible, where it says shall, not may, like some terms the lawyer might say is that we got out of board when we say the word is written down as may. I'm asking that we always use the word shall. And it's only, that's the right way to go. You can't go this way, you can't go that way. You have to go with the state of Florida. Shall. So it's locked and loaded. Prior to the 29th, the word shall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sapp. Ms. Paula Phillips.
Good evening, Paula Phillips, 816 Sunset Drive. How many times have I been up in front of you all and said, I'm not happy with what's going on, and I'm very sad that the city can't work together for the good of its citizens and for the good of Quincy. But yet here I am again. It never changes. I don't understand why the rush to get rid of our city manager. He hasn't even had his evaluation yet. He hasn't had any chance to defend any of these allegations that are being thrown around. I don't understand it. And this is the worst possible time that we could lose our city manager. We need him for a lot of things, but for the budget coming up, now that Frida's gone, we don't have anyone else but our city manager that knows about the budget. I don't know what the other agenda is that's going on here, but it's obvious for anyone that comes to these meetings to see that there is another agenda. And I guess the first step is getting rid of Mr. Nixon. And I don't know who goes next. I don't know whose friends get put in these positions, or whose sisters of friends, or I don't know what's going on here. But I'm not the only one that sees it. And I ask you all, please, would you put the city of Quincy first for once? Could we not do that? Could we not work together for the good of the city? Could that not be the first thing in everybody's mind? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Any other forums and individuals who would like to speak? All right, thank you to the audience. We have no public hearings. We have no resolutions. And we're down to reports, requests, and communications by the city manager. The first one would be Waste Pro update by city manager.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry. We don't have any. We don't have any opportunity to speak to the commissioner on proposition. We don't have any propositions, Commissioner. But it comes up after the resolutions. and then it says reports, requests, and communications. I'm not reading that wrong? Am I reading that wrong? I got that, but Mr. Starworth indicated what items he wanted to speak. Okay. He wanted to speak after the item, Commissioner Harris. Thank you. Waste Pro.
Yes, ma'am.
City.
Thank you. Just a simple update to the commission. I'll share a draft of a letter that I'm sending to the attorney which we will send to Waste Pro. Basically, it's acknowledging the fact that we have a contract with Waste Pro. It's been a long-standing contract. That contract did expire while the last commission considered certain presentations and waited for certain information. At this particular point in time, Waste Pro has asked for a letter acknowledging that we recognize that the contract rolled over and that we're continuing. And what I am asking Waste Pro is to come to the table to negotiate with us, because there are some issues that I think we like to address. There are some issues that were identified by Mr. Bell and his staff in terms of just some of the process. Then I have some concerns with, they have a cost of living adjustment, an annual cost of living adjustment included in their contract, and so they use that based on information that isn't specific to our area, and I believe that the resource that they use is one that's not best suited for us, and we like to propose to use some other data which shows how our citizens' disposable income looks at this time. And there'll probably be some survey data, but it'll be much, much better and much cheaper over the long run for the city of Quincy. Other issues we want to consider, I have the board consider, would include service. Presently, we are served twice a week by Waste Pro. Some citizens are saying that is too much, too frequently, and so we'll need to look at those issues with the commission. So I will share this letter after the attorney has seen it with you by email, but I wanted to give you that update that at this time, I believe it's in the city's best interest to invite Waste Pro to the negotiation table so that we can come up with an agreement that better suits the needs of our commission and just makes better fiscal sense from the city's perspective.
Commissioner Harris.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, I heard you said that there are citizens who think it's too frequent, that twice a week is, so we're looking for a once a week pickup?
And some citizens are saying that once a week works better.
Would that be?
Commissioner Harris, would you come closer to the mic?
Or pull the mic closer.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We got technology on the agenda, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm hearing you say, okay, so you're saying some citizens are asking for a once a week pickup. Is that in hopes of a reduction in the cost of Waste Pro? Because I don't. Okay, I understand. Okay, I get that part. Can we get some data from Waste Pro to talk about the amount of garbage that they are collecting on a twice a week pickup? Because I mean, I can understand if it's not, but if we're maxing out every week, if they're picking up full cans or even half cans every week, twice a week, then I don't see how we could. I don't see how that could work for us. I mean, I would like to see some data to support that.
I think that's the point, and we do have data that we receive regularly from Waste Pro that we analyze.
Correct.
But I think we need to go explore it. It is something that's a consideration. There's some other municipalities near here, and it's only once a week. Now, my understanding is that there will be a reduction, but it would not be as significant as what some would expect.
Right.
So we need to look at that.
And that's why I just want to make sure that we're not giving any false hope that we reduce down to 1 day pickup a week, and you're not going to see the return on it. Because right now, what is the customer paying for? What's the cost of Waste Pro right now? Because I'm just trying to figure out how much cheaper could we possibly go. And we because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not in support of a 1 day week pickup. My cans stay full. I got 3 kids at the house, so they stay full. My last comment is, I understand that are we entering to a new? Is this looking toward a new contract with Waste Pro?
Yes, sir, I believe it'd be in our best interest to get a new contract.
Gotcha. I also would like to suggest or recommend that we also take a look at the other collection companies in the area and get a comparison with them, Waste Management in particular. I've looked at them for a couple of years to see what service they're able to provide us and at what cost. So I think that's worth exploring. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just clarify, did you say, am I to understand that you said Waste Pro wanted to just roll over their contract with an increase in the cost of living? They wanted to increase the cost without any negotiation?
In the contract that was established years ago that they actually kind of inherited, that is one of the elements that if neither side presents a question, then before the contract's expiration, then the contract will roll over. Doesn't mean that you can't contest it later, but it is the acknowledgement that it'll move forward at the same terms. And inside of that agreement is a regular cost of living adjustment, or COLA as they call it. And so that is something that I believe that we need to address and look at some of these other issues to make sure that it is more economical. I will be transparent for Waste Pro and everybody here, is that I do want to explore at some point the city of Quincy going back and providing its own garbage service. It is too expensive to have these companies come through. Waste Pro has been a good partner with us, and so we're looking forward to better terms in terms of an agreement. However, at this point, I think it would be irresponsible for us not to consider other options as we enter into some of these discussions.
And just my last comment, I don't like rollover contracts because I think sometimes you have so many contracts, you forget what's rolling over. So really, we need to put a time frame on them so that we know we have to go back and address the terms in those contracts. And that's probably, that's another issue we have not continued the discussion on with your contracts, but I don't like rollover contracts. And in this case, it's evident as to why. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Knight.
I do know that the state is not giving any cost of living adjustments, correct?
Yes.
And I also want to know, where is Waste Pro pulling this data from to
They
test
use
that?
the Bureau of Economic Business Analysis and Research, which is a standard source. But my problem with it is that it typically just pulls from the larger metropolitan areas, and it does this, quote unquote, this average. And so that does not often skew in the favor of a smaller community, especially if you're a small rural community. And so I do believe that there are some recommendations that we need to make to Waste Pro to consider that, because we don't see the same kind of growth that these major metropolitan areas see. And so, although there are some anomalies, for example, in some cases, the cost of living in Leon County is higher than it is in Tampa.
That was my next question.
So there are some anomalies there, but I think that we can make the argument based on historic data here that we need to look at something that's more relevant to this specific locale rather than something that's a regional consideration.
Also, you spoke about the contract. Technically, when is the end date for, minus the rollover clause for the contract?
So my understanding is that this is something that really should have been dealt with like 3 years ago. Our understanding is that when Waste Pro inherited the agreement that was with the previous company with the city, that these things were included then, and they wanted to keep those things. And so at this time, I think that, and I've shared this with Waste Pro, is that I feel like, number one, it doesn't give us either side a good perspective because none of us negotiated that agreement. Number two, 3 years ago, we should have dealt with that. I'm not sure what was on the radar 3 years ago, but we do have now systems in place where we can pick up on this information when it's time for us to start to renegotiate. Staff is aware, and that's based on some of the analysis that we did when Commissioner Dr. Woods came on board and wanted to look at the contracts. One of the things that we looked at was the terms, so that this doesn't happen in the future. I do think that this is an opportunity, though, for us to really be aggressive because Waste Pro has really gone out of their way to try to keep our business. As a matter of fact, I think one of the things they're hosting is a day for our employees here that they want to treat us to lunch. So there are some efforts by them to at least keep it friendly, but the reality is this has to make good dollars and cents for our citizens, and right now I feel like we can probably get a better deal.
Commissioners.
The,
Stevens.
regardless of who we go with moving forward, I really hope that we would take a hard look at the fee that residents have to pay to recycle their goods. I find it difficult to understand that we have to pay to prevent things from going in the trash. I'll tell you, I have more recycling at my house than I do garbage. But I pay my $6 or $12 or whatever it is a month. And so I think, we need to encourage people to recycle. And by making people pay, that's a disincentive. So that would be my 2 cents worth on that issue.
Commissioner Harris, you had another comment?
I do. So thank you. So for clarity, the contract has expired. There's no standing agreement with Waste Pro.
No,
right
the
now?
contract has expired.
Okay.
But they recognize the fact that there was a rollover clause.
Okay, so but we have let me ask this question. So 3 years of complicated rollovers.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, gotcha. How soon are they looking to try to get a solid contract?
They want to continue the contract that they have now. I think that it is up to the city of Quincy to push this ball.
Correct.
I don't think we need to wait for them. I think we need to tell them the terms, and then we need to move forward. And they've been open to the discussion.
No problem. I'm in favor of the city of Quincy putting out a request for proposal for garbage services, and along with that, I would like to see a cost analysis for the city of Quincy running its own trash pickup. I know you mentioned that. I do believe some years ago, I'm not sure, Mr. Bill may have been before Mr. Bill. I'm not sure. I know some years ago, the city of Quincy used to provide its own garbage pickup. And so I would like for us to explore that and see how many trucks it would take to run what we currently run and employees as well. If we get a full cost analysis to go along with that, I would like to see us re-agenda this at some point. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I would comment that we look at a serious recycle program or incentive campaign so that we can become more environmentally friendly and encourage our citizens to also do that. It's not encouraging when you have to pay for your recycle. And I started paying and being encouraged, but after multiple payments, I got out, so I'm quite sure a number. So if we can consider a recycling campaign, again, with the focus of our environmental issues that we know exist, then I think it will be better for our citizen as well as our city to, as we move forward into more of the 21st century. The next item would be the arrears report update. City Manager and Mr. Ash.
I'd like to invite Director Ash forward.
Mayor, Commissioners, I was asked to look at the arrears report back in January of this year. This was the very first report I pulled at that time, and it took me from January to like mid-March to get through the report. You can see on the right-hand side all my comments, which when I went through the report, trying to determine why each customer was on that report. It was a multitude of reasons. Of course, the biggest reason is nobody's been looking at the arrears report for years. Some things that happened in the arrears report, you had accounts that were finaled, that they had never been terminated in the system. So you still had basically accounts that were accruing late fees, but they had never been turned off. The customers were long gone. In some cases, the businesses or the residents were long gone. And what I had finally to do was just final out the account and close it out in the system and everything. We have a lot of customers that were typically paid late. There's a habit of giving extensions, paying past their due dates, all kinds of issues like that, which I've tried to work through. I've been working hard with the customer service personnel to try to reinforce that, we got to stick by the code of ordinances. I will bring something forward for discussion in the near future, talking about where we do have a lot of customers that pay on certain dates, which actually would take them into arrears because they pay past the due dates on their bills and everything. And the trouble is, historically, this has been allowed. It's been allowed for a lot of customers and everything, but it does throw customers on the arrears report. We are trying to work with those customers right now. We have notified them that we're going to possibly go do away with that. But I need to come back forward with you and talk with that on either amending the code of ordinances or having us stick by the code of ordinances. There are some cases in there where I list the contact customer. There's I'm not sure why they quit paying. I can give a couple of instances. I know in the commission one of the commission meetings when this first came up, they pointed out that one of the addresses listed on there was actually the warehouse down at on North Adams Street, which is the utilities warehouse. It wasn't really the utilities warehouse. It was the state of Florida. The state of Florida had a well down there, a sampling well where they tested for contaminants because there used to be a gas station down there. And they literally completed the work about a year ago, took their well and all their equipment away and left and didn't close the account, owed us $15,000. So what I ended up doing was contacting the state, finding out who the contact person was, and they said, you owe us some money. And actually they paid the money and paid all the back fees and everything, and then we were able to close the account out. Another example was up on 500 King Street, with the school right north of here. Nobody paid that bill for a couple of years. And when I contacted them, they said, well, you need to start paying this bill. There was some kind of discussion of, well, where's the bill go to? And we went to another office. And that kind of highlighted some of the issues I've come across where, the information the customers have on the accounts are wrong, and so that sometimes the bills are going to the wrong places. And that one had changed about 2 years ago. And actually, it took me having to cut them off one time, to tell them how serious I was. And then they actually come back and paid the bill. But working through it, I worked down to the point of, as you done, I knocked it down to the $80-something thousand. And actually, it should be down lower than that because Arbors of Quincy was on there, and they owed us $15,000, which had to do a dispute of a bill with a garbage pickup. And that's been resolved. We've given them the information. So, they should be paying that bill very soon as they promised. And then we've had several other customers that we've gone through. So it should be $56,000 or less. And over time, I'm hoping to get a lot of the customers that are still on there, they're still, constantly paying late. I'm trying to get them into a better habit of paying on time. So that's basically what's happening. And we are going to have, eventually, when I get it caught up to the point where it should be, I plan on moving it to somebody in customer services that will maintain the list on a monthly basis, so we shouldn't get in this situation again.
The areas where you have no comments, can we assume that they paid, or what's the status?
Yeah, if they had no comment, everything, there was no issue to it.
No, I'm talking about with, there's nothing on the side. There's
At the time I ran that one, we ran into another list, so I actually
jumped to the next month's list and everything, so I hadn't actually finished that list. But that's how far I got through that list, which almost all of them.
Okay.
And this time, all of them have been gone through at least one time.
Commissioner Dr. Wood?
Thank you. Now, I want to go back, Mr. Ash. You talked about King Street, and you said they didn't know they had a utility bill, or the bill wasn't coming to them, but did they have lights?
They had
For
lights,
those years,
and
were the lights on
They had
the whole
lights on.
time?
Mhm.
Oh,
And I can, and I don't know who, it goes back before me. But a lot of times there was, in the system, people would put comments in the system, don't cut off, hold to this date, do this, and there was nothing done. And that's what, when I say there was a lot of issue with the accounts, I've been working through trying to get that stuff fixed.
and that has been resolved, the King Street?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that-
we cut them off, actually, and
Okay.
then they came down and paid, and everything got resolved.
Okay.
After I'd actually had contacted them prior, saying, hey, I'm going to give you a certain date to pay.
Okay.
And they ended up cutting them off because they didn't at that time, but now they're paying.
Okay, and then my other question, I know there was a big arrearage, Gretna. Now, what did we do in that case? What happened there? You
In
may have
Gretna,
told us, I forgot.
All the arrearage had to do with the
The-
minimum billing,
uh-huh.
which is in dispute. And we took all the minimum billing off there, and we were just charging for their actual water. The dispute is over the language in the contract where they're saying that the minimum bill should not be what we've been charging them all along. So in essence, we're going to renegotiate the contract for just actual usage.
I can help with that,
Okay.
Commissioner. The other part of that conversation was, there was a realization that that Gretna had actually gotten a $500,000 loan to complete that portion of the water system so that they could have access to it. And so the real point of contention was that they got this loan with the understanding that they would be billed for the water that they actually use. And I think when you did the analysis on how much water they use, the amount was more like, was it like 700?
Yeah, it was
It was like 700.
it was very small now.
Yeah, it was like $738 or something like that. And so you can see that, and there have been some difficulties, technology related, on their part. They made some upgrades that are not necessarily compatible with our system. And so in many cases, they could not use water from our system. They didn't have that demand. And so in looking at what they actually used, then we found that there was a big discrepancy. And then the final piece was that it appears, because there was no documentation, there were no notes anywhere, it appears that the city arbitrarily came up with a number and assigned that number as a monthly charge. And there was no justification, there was no communication. It was just, and as it accumulated, so did these other charges. And that was totally inappropriate. And so we are in the process of meeting with them to get on the same page and get something that's much more appropriate. But then it showed up on their arrears report as though that they were significantly behind, and that was just a contestation issue that we needed to resolve. And I want to thank Director Ash for leading that effort to get that cleared up.
And then my last comment, Director Ash, I think a lot of work and a lot of time has gone into this report, so thank you for this. I know we've talked about it on this commission probably since right after I got up here. So I do appreciate this work, and I do appreciate that you are standing by the ordinance. It's all you have to stand on at this point. I know that there were allowances made for certain citizens to pay on a certain day at a certain, and we can't do that. If we want to change those things, then it needs to come from this commission. So I do appreciate you standing by the ordinance, and we cannot adjust the ordinance for everybody's payday. It doesn't even make logical sense. Some people maybe need the 3rd, the 5th, the 10th, the 30th. We can't we will not be able to adjust the ordinance like that. So I understand why it is the way it is stated in the ordinance, and I think we need to, at this point, stick to that until anything else changes from this dais. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Stevens.
And I apologize if you answered this. I've been trying to pour through this. At the end of many of your comments, you have C/O. Is that cut off?
Cut off.
Have they been cut off?
They have been cut off.
Okay.
That's why as far on in those cases, we're actually the individual customers, and once we cut them off, it was good in a way because, some customers that hadn't been paid in a long, long time, actually when we cut them off and closed their account, they came back and paid to reopen their account. And said, oh, we got to pay on the account now. Yeah, you got to pay on your account.
Okay, Commissioner Stevens, are you complete? Also, you have a 30-day notice. If there's no payment, the intent is to cut off as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We were kind of respectful of the notes in there. We didn't want to just, hammer our customers. So if we had notes in there that gave them leeway. We tried to give them as much notice as possible of what was going to happen.
Okay. That's being compassionate. Thank you. City Manager.
Yes, ma'am. Again, I want to thank Director Ash and Customer Service for the hard work working with the customers on this issue. I would like to remind this commission that even in the past where we saw that there were decisions made to, like, for example, not cut customers off during COVID. Those things were well intended at the time, but we've got to come up with better solutions. I'm extremely concerned with the fact that we expect to see significant increases in the cost of purchase power, and our citizens aren't getting more income. And so we've got to be thinking about ways we deal with this. One thing I think that was important that Director Ash implemented was when we did cutoffs, we have a disconnection list that's more of a short term, and then we have the arrearage. He was actually cutting off from both lists because what we found was that there were many accounts where they would pay the current bill, but they never dealt with this big balance that they had. And so he was able to get them to come in, to cut it off, because when we invited them, many customers just didn't have the time or make the effort to come in, but once the cutoff happened, then they came in. So I want to thank the commission because we have not seen the same kind of behavior from the past where, we would get a lot of calls and say, hey, we need to consider this person's situation. We do. We work with them. We still work with the nonprofits to offer assistance to our customers. But I do sincerely hope that over the next few months that this commission will put some serious consideration into things like economic development and how we realistically empower our citizens to be able to live comfortably in the city of Quincy, because currently that is under threat. Food prices and power prices are not going down, and our customers are really struggling. So I applaud those customers, especially our seniors who struggle, but they make it here and they pay their bill. We're also coming up with some new options that Mr. Gus will talk about briefly, but we've got to be very creative in looking for solutions. And the first solution, I think, is we got to put more money in the pockets of our citizens. Thank you.
Mr. Ash, I see entry where you have customers making payment but need to pay more, leave on for now. Did you also send them a 30-day notice so that they can catch up?
We contacted them and explained to them that you're not paying enough, and we encouraged them to get on the payment plan, or we'd have to cut them off.
Okay. Because that's over $7,000 in arrears.
Now there are a few customers on there, and I'm going to use an example where, we have given them leeway. We have a customer on Child Church Road, who's the customer who had a water line. Nelson Tree Service ran over their water line and broke their water line. They didn't discover it for quite a while. It spilled out 6,000 gallons worth of water, $6,000 worth of water. We actually cut them off. Then we found out the situation and everything, and we spoke with them, and we actually, encouraged them to talk with Talcum. Talcum was the one that hired the contractor. Said you need to file a claim with them, and they have filed a claim with them. we have worked with the customer saying, just pay your current bill and $100 more, and we're going to wait till we hear what Falcon says as far as their claim before, we move forward. So, because there'd be no reason to cut this customer off, because we're not going to help them, and we're not going to help us by just cutting the customer off until we hear what happens with Falcon. But we have other customers that are kind of in the same boat.
Question.
Commissioner Stevens.
On that issue, so, and I understand, so their water main, their water line broke, not any of their fault. The bigger hit for them is the sewer fee.
This customer is not on city sewer.
They're on septic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it would be even worse had they been. Okay, all right. No, I think so. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Dr. Wood.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. S. One last question. So those that have these large amounts that were cut off, how are we going to get that balance paid now that they're cut off? Is there a plan in place to aggressively to pursue that? Because right now they're off anyway. So is there a plan to, or the city manager, whichever one can answer that? Because I see $4,000 and $5,000 on here that we really need to recoup that, because that's what they owe.
Commissioner, with that, I'll remind you that one of the things that we are doing, number one, we make our own effort to collect now that Director Ash has gotten qualified information. At some point in time, if we still do not collect, then we have to turn that over to a collections company. And there are two options that I'll remind you that we're considering. One option is for the extremely long old debt that we may be able to write off. There's some that's not so old that we may be able to sell to a debt collection company. It'll be a reduced rate, but we get something on that account versus nothing. But our first effort is to try to collect the full amount using our staff and making the calls.
All right, and I do recall that discussion, but I didn't know if we have actually pursued to have that in place.
Yes, ma'am. We put out an RFP, and we
Okay.
had companies respond, but none of them responded. The amount of debt that we have was not attractive to those companies because it's a large amount to us, but to them it was not a large amount. And so we prepared a different RFP to put out. There are some companies that we've identified that we're sending it out to targeted. We started with companies that are located within the state of Florida. Now we're expanding that to those that are outside of the state.
Okay, thank you very much.
Also, have you, I see a number of people where you say they will never catch up. Are you referring them to some of our agencies that will pay for
Well, that,
utility bills?
well, Mayor, in cases like that, or comments like that, there's just no way, looking at their income, what the situation is, it's a situation where I have to go and sit down with the city manager to have a serious discussion of, where we move with its customers and thing. So it's we make a decision, either cut them off or go out there and have a discussion with them and try to put them on a payment plan.
And we
Knowing that it'll take forever on a payment plan, but
And we do continue to work with those nonprofits, but many of the nonprofits, they run out of money very quickly for our citizens. And so we've got to look at that realistically, and most of them will not pay that significant of an amount because they have very limited resources. But unfortunately, we do have people, you think about the number of people who are at or below poverty in our community. You think about the number of senior citizens or those who may be physically challenged who are on extremely low fixed incomes. When we allowed them to have this period where they did not pay and made those exceptions, we put them in a bad situation. And so although they may be responsible for the bill, we are partly responsible for what got them in that situation. And I think it would be wrong to penalize them for what we allowed. And so we've got to come up with different solutions. As Director Ash indicated, We are going to come up with a set of recommendations on how we handle those customers. But right now, we do have some that are functionally, they're able to pay some of the bill, but they cannot pay all of their bill. The house is old, it's not insulated right, the appliances are old, the wiring is old, and they can't move anywhere. Same people that we see when we're using the cold weather shelter. As a matter of fact, Mayor, you remember one citizen you recommended because she physically could not get out of bed to go to a shelter. So these are the people that we have got to look out for, and we've got to be very, very careful, but we've got to be very considerate as well. Thank you.
Next item will be the financial report for March 31st, 2025.
As Director Daniels come forward, Commission, I think you'll remember that the only question you had was regarding these arrearages, and Director Ash did explain that. I don't think that you had any questions at the time, but Ms. Daniels is here to entertain it. Thank you.
The March financial report we did go over in a previous meeting, and as I believe, the only questions were the questions about the arrears report.
What is the pleasure of the dais regarding the March report?
I would move the March report with that arrears report attached to it.
Second. It's been moved in second that we approve the arrears report, the March financials with the arrears report that has just been given to us. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Daniels.
We have the smart grid update. City Manager.
Yes, I would like to invite Mr. Stephen Goss, our IT consultant, forward. I'll share with you some of the notes that he shared with me, and he'll give us an overview. Again, just for the audience and as a reminder to this commission, smart grid is a high priority, especially in light of utility billing, because we need to be able to read accurately so that we can reduce those issues with getting bills correct that we've seen over time. We also need to be able to ensure that we can cut on and cut off remotely. That's something that's important because we waste a tremendous amount of time and resources if you have to cut someone off and then later on that same day you got to cut them back on. So it takes a lot of time for the manpower to burn a lot of fuel doing that. And then the final thing is we just got to get in this century. We have been grossly behind. Some of that is a function of lack of revenue, which means that the City Commission has had to authorize us to have this routine regimen of transfers from utilities. When we transfer those monies out of utilities to cover those other costs, utilities doesn't have the funds to invest in things like technology and better equipment and better training for the employees. So smart grid is important, and we've been pushing Mr. Goss to make sure that we get this done. So Mr. Goss, if you would share the updates with the commission, I would appreciate it.
Good evening. We'll start with the fiber infrastructure project. It was put on hold on March 27th and was on hold until May 27th. So no work was completed during that time. Now this was out of our hands. This was due to a staffing change at Lightspeed. This is the company that is our Nokia reseller. They got to give me to run through the dates real quick to explain it all. I can do that if you like. So we opened a ticket with Nokia on February 4th to begin programming for the ONT templates. We got the new engineer was assigned on February 24th, and February 28th, the engineer opened another ticket for the upgrade of the AMS OLT system. That is the complete center of all the fiber backbone. So we got a project manager with Nokia. I was working directly with Nokia and the engineers, some of them in Europe, some on the other side of the United States, and we were making a lot of progress. On March 13th, we got a new sales representative of Lightspeed. We got SOW signed on March 26th, and on March 27th, the new sales engineer pulled the project. Said they had a change in their policies and they wanted prepayment up front for all this work. So that, they pulled all the engineers off this project. They finally received payment from us on May the 12th. It took 2 weeks to get the engineers reassigned to the project. They resumed work on May 27th. Now we're working on the upgrade process. We have one small issue with the EMS service, which is not running correctly. I spoke with the project manager today, about an hour ago, and as soon as the EMS service is corrected, it will be 3 to 5 days to finish the second part, which is the upgrade, and then 20 hours of programming for the templates for us to resume work on the smart grid.
All right, so with that, Mr. Goss, just in your estimation, because I know we've asked you this before, but how can we get this done this calendar year so that we can start testing?
Yes, sir. It will be done this calendar year, definitely. Definitely. Like I said, the EMS service not running. We got a new engineer signed today. He feels like we'll be done tomorrow with that. Then 3 to 5 days with the upgrades for the ONT system, and then 20 hours of programming for the ONTs. Once those programming is done, we'll start putting the system back out. Then we'll start migrating the routes over to the AMI routes and start pulling bills at that point.
Also, we can read some meters now.
We're reading about 2,500 meters right now.
We're reading about 2,500 meters.
2,500 electric meters and about 2,000 water and gas meters.
Thank you.
Oh, we have a meeting Friday with Acceleron. This is the prepay company that handles our payments now. They'll be given the app for all of our customers to use. They'll be able to look at their bill in real time. They're coming in Friday.
So they'll be able to look at their consumption.
Yes.
And read what that translates into the bill in real time.
Right. They'll be able to see consumption in real time, make payments from the app right away. They can set up budgets for their consumption, get alerts when they come close to run over, that type of thing.
And that's also part of the final question. That's part of that prepay.
Right.
That will also be an option.
Yes, sir.
Or pay as you go.
Right. Pay as you go or prepay. That's correct.
Thank you.
No questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goff.
No reports by boards or committee. Other items would be by commission members. We'll start, Commissioner Dr. Wood has several, and since we have a couple individuals who would like to speak on them, I'll take them one by one as printed, if that's okay with you, Commissioner Wood. Technology is your first item for discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Technology. We have to get it right. Too many complaints about not being able to hear on Facebook. Even when we're in the room, you have to almost have your mouth all the way to the mic to hear. So I asked the city manager to look into some options for technology so that we can set up a better system. Even when people are on Zoom, you know, they can't hear, it's not feeding into that system, and we just need to make this better. When COVID hit, one of the things that churches had to do was to reinvent what they were used to doing, which was just going into the church having service. Many of them use streaming services now like OBS or, Boxcast or Restream, things like that. We need to look into those type of options. They are relatively inexpensive, and we can set them up the way we want. I think that we should be running on Facebook and YouTube at this point, at least those two platforms, so that when we are live, people are not complaining about they cannot hear. Even when we were in the rec center, the acoustics horrible, the sound was bad, people couldn't even hear most of the meeting. And at this point, I think we need to put some effort into improving our technology systems. And that is why I have it on the agenda I want us to make a concerted effort to improve technology, to improve our sound, to look at some of the available options, because there are a lot of them out there that we can look into so that we can do more with less.
Okay. Any comments?
And I've invited Director Mr. Goss to come forward so he can also respond to what we're working on in that direction.
Okay, let me get Commissioner Harris' comments before Mr.
Oh,
Goff.
no, he can go ahead. He can go ahead. I can come in after.
Okay.
Okay, good evening again. Okay, so we're getting quotes from several places to upgrade the systems here, specifically the microphones. Going to go back to a wired microphone that we can control from up in the control room. Right now, these mics can only be controlled down here, so they're set once, and if there's a problem with the sound, we can't make adjustments on the fly. So we have quotes for that in-house already, as well as some new streaming equipment to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. The quotes that we have for that supports that already. Also, we want to replace the cameras in the room and the speakers so everyone here can hear better. Have not addressed the issue at the rec department yet because we want to finish this one first. We contacted the vendor that actually did the county's sound, and they're set up at the commission chambers, and it seems to work well there. So they're giving us direction right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Harris.
Thank you. I'm concerned about the Zoom setup when we have Zoom. Is there, what do we need to do to equip this room for Zoom meetings? Because we have vendors and even commissioners try to appear via Zoom, and I can tell you now, if we're trying to speak and that mic over there on that laptop is what's only thing trying to pick it up, that's a no-go. We can't hear anything. So what does it take to include that in this room, where we could get a camera that when the person that's watching or who's remote can actually see the entire room and who they're talking to, and then we can hear back? And what would it take to get that done?
They have custom setups just for that purpose.
Okay.
We're looking at that as well. Right now, the sound is fed into the laptop from the amplifier underneath here. So when you speak in the microphones, the person should be able to hear it on the far side. But if you're not speaking into the microphone, it's just like the person at home, they cannot hear it. So we are looking at Zoom setups as well.
So my question, I guess my next question would be, Mr. Manager, is there a dollar amount or is there anything in the budget this year that we can expedite this and have it done, hopefully within the next month?
Well, right now, we are looking at options to see if we can afford it now. Again, the priority has been to make sure that we get smart grid dealt with. And there have been some other issues that various departments have had with technology. But once we get those quotes back, then I'll be able to give you a qualified answer to that. We do know that we saw one quote that was extremely high. That was the $31,000 quote that one of the vendors gave, and that was comparable to what the county has.
What did it include? What did it include?
That included a wireless mics with a wireless amplifier. You can control each channel separately. Upgraded camera system in here, and the mixer system to stream it to two platforms.
That included Zoom service as well?
No, that did not include the Zoom setup.
It's
a separate. It's a separate setup.
And you said it was 31,000. Is that the only quote that we received?
That's the only one we have so far, but we expect to have to update it.
Okay.
He's been working on this.
Okay. I would like to include the Zoom setup and make sure that's a part of the quote when we get it back, because I think that's important. Thank you.
Have you finished?
I'm done.
Okay. Commissioner Stevens.
I would ask, as you're looking at this, and perhaps you already are, but one of the things that I find difficult, and I think others of us find it difficult, as we try to speak to each other or look at each other, then we start looking away, and the sound projects here, and it doesn't go into that mic. If it's, what is that, what's the thing?
Lavalier.
Lavalier. If we were to have those on, then no matter which way we turn, and maybe we have a button to control it, but you would still be able to pick all of our conversations up. Maybe that's what you're looking at, but I know that we run into that a lot, especially as we're asking the attorney, and he's turning to address us. He has to turn all the way and try to figure out how to talk into that mic, and so I think that would help if we can. And maybe the mics you're talking about, will work.
We'll explore those options as well.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Social media policy, Dr. Wood.
So this subject came up, I don't remember how long ago, but we looked at some sample social media policies, and I want us to not keep that on the back burner. I want us to put this in the forefront so that we can address it. I know the attorney mentioned something about First Amendment issues, but from what I've researched, most municipalities have a social media policy, so there obviously is some way around that First Amendment, whatever that, was. But I think we need to get back to this so that employees are clear, we're all clear on what the policy is, because you can't reprimand an employee if they don't know what the policy is in the first place. So, city manager, have we looked at specific, I think you had 2 samples, or one that we looked at?
We had 2 samples that were comparable, and these were consistent with what you kind of see in your research, I'm sure. One of the considerations was that to complement this, there'd also have to be some statements in our employee policy manual that basically explain, if there are certain things that you're speaking to from, for example, your position, and you criticize and say, for example, a commissioner, that's not appropriate. But there are things that you're entitled to say because of freedom of speech. But I think there's some qualifiers. The police department has statements in their policy as a good example of that. And so with this, I think this is the first step, but there would have to be a second step where we actually look at qualifying and defining some behaviors in the employee manual. And so we're prepared to bring that forward. But at this point, with the new commission, all we really need is just some feedback from, say, these 2 examples. We can refine that very quickly and then bring it back to you for review and then a vote. Do you have them? You have them?
I don't have that. Oh, thank you.
I think we were almost at that point when the elections happened. So now we just need to get some updated feedback. We'll revise, refine that, and then we'll bring it back to you for a vote, and then we can implement it.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at, fine-tuning, and perhaps in the next 2 weeks, at our next meeting, we can kind of put a pin in this as a time frame so that we could get this done, or at least within, I said 2 weeks, but it could be, the meeting after that. But I do think this is important for us to set as an accomplishment that we got this policy done, because we talked about it last year. So I would like us to have a specific time frame in mind. Thank you.
Finish. Have you finished,
Yes.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go to your next item. But however, we have 2 individuals that like to speak on it.
Okay.
Commissioner Harris.
So just so I'm clear on what the direction is, so staff is going to bring us back a recommendation at the next meeting for approval. I mean, are we, because I know we've done some work and we've gone through and we've made some suggestions and notes and that sort of thing. So at this point, is staff going to bring us back a recommended policy for us to vote on at the next meeting?
Yes, sir. We just need to get input from the new commissioners as well.
Okay.
Since they're here now. They haven't had the opportunity to see and they've been participating in those early
Gotcha.
conversations. We did drill down, there was a handful of these that we looked at and got down to these 2. So once they have a chance to review it and give us some feedback, then we can come back with a document that you can look at, and hopefully you can vote and we can implement.
Because these are 2, I'm just making sure, these are 2 separate ones. These are 2 examples.
Yeah, they're 2 examples.
Okay,
Those are 2
okay,
different ones,
okay.
but they're very similar.
Okay. And how should y'all receive that feedback?
You just email us,
Email?
write notes, whatever's comfortable for the commissioner, we'll adjust.
No workshop.
No workshop.
Y'all
No,
love
If y'all want a
We've
workshop,
had-
I don't think we need a workshop.
We've had a workshop. You all
Yeah,
can
we have.
handle 2
I just had
documents.
y'all a workshop.
May I call up the citizens who wanted to
Absolutely.
talk before you make your comments?
Sure.
Dr. Stallworth, we're talking about evaluations, and you indicated that you want to make some comments.
Yes.
I just wanted to be a little clear with some of my constituents that live in the city as it relates to the evaluation. Dr. Robin Wood, can you please kindly explain, what was supposed to take place as it relates to the evaluation? Because a lot of folks are clueless out there. And has he had an evaluation? And if he has not had an evaluation, what is the next process for you guys to complete that task? Because just unclear, and then looking at Facebook and reading certain things and stuff, I just want a clear understanding. If you can please explain it to me, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Can we get the other comment
Sure.
before you get into your presentation? Mr. Elias. Derek Elias.
Good evening, Derek Elias, P.O. Box 2171, Quincy. I don't know exactly what the commissioner mayor is going to present on, but I just, anticipation of what might be said, there are some hurdles as it relates to evaluating the manager. There are some hurdles right now in evaluating the attorney and the clerk, the three individuals who report directly to you all. First and foremost, 2 of the 5 of you just came aboard, so that would not allow you adequate time to properly assess any performance, which means that would only leave 3 of you to have had the opportunity to evaluate. And either way it goes, that would sway an overall evaluation. The proper way at this time, or at any time, to administer an evaluation is to put the person on notice at the beginning of a rating period to let them know what they would in fact be rated on. So during the course of that rating period, typically a year's time or 6 months or whatever that established time is, they would know what they're going to be rated on. They would be afforded an opportunity to meet or exceed your performance expectations. But it would be improper to establish a tool and back into that evaluation, and especially to back into it with individuals who have not had an opportunity to evaluate their performance over that rating period. As it relates to the manager specifically, his contract has expired. The contract called for an evaluation. He's been employed at least 3 years, and for whatever reason, the commission did not evaluate the manager through no fault of his own. I had come up here and I mentioned that to you all, and I said, in fact, it's not fair to him. At this point, it would not be fair to you all nor him if you do it now. And lastly, it appears that you all are on the cusp of considering dismissing the manager. It wouldn't be prudent to give an evaluation now, as I said earlier, because it's going to muddy the waters. You had an opportunity to do it. If you're going to do it now, the proper thing would be to do is to renegotiate a contract and start anew and give him those performance expectations and move forward. But since you hadn't done that, my recommendation is that you don't do it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me clarify something. We didn't just start this evaluation process today. This process has been going on since last year. We actually had to develop, and I wish the gentleman was in the room to hear this, we actually had to develop the evaluation tool because I have no idea, but he sat on this commission in the past, and there was no evaluation tool that we found. So it took us several workshops to develop the evaluation tool that was indeed shared with the city manager, the city attorney, and the city clerk for their input and any comments that they wanted to make at the time. Once that was shared, then we made the necessary corrections and we developed that tool based on that feedback from the commission and also those that I just mentioned. So this is not a whim. We didn't just come up with it. We're not going to use a tool that we have not shared with those individuals. This process, again, started last year. Now, what was done in the past, I cannot speak to. If there were evaluation instruments, we didn't have them. So this started last year, not today, not when we talking about dismissing the city manager. This is a process that started before all of that. So I'm not sure where the relevance of that discussion is, but my purpose in putting this on is because when we had the discussion, the one thing that we decided on the commission with the former commissioners who are no longer here and the 3 that are here is that we would evaluate those individuals in June. So, mind you, this process started before October of 2024. It is now June, which is why I brought this to the dais. I understand that we have new commissioners. I understand that, but nevertheless, you just said the city manager has not had an evaluation. So my point is that we need to have one. Now, are we going to say, you know, because we have new commissioners that we shouldn't do an evaluation? I'm not sure I'm on board with that. I understand they have not been here as long as some of us, but nevertheless, there is no evaluation in place. And it is not a surprise instrument. That instrument was developed and it took us months to get that done. So please, let's be clear and let's pass the information on correctly. Okay? All of them have seen that instrument, the city manager, the city attorney, and the city clerk. My point in bringing this up is to decide on a time frame to have the evaluation done. I didn't say we had to do it today. So you have new commissioners, they might want to do it 3-6 months down the road. I don't know. My point in bringing it up is to say that we need to make sure that we are doing evaluations yearly, annually, as those contracts have stated. Now, when we do the first one, I haven't even said that. I didn't say we were doing the evaluation today. But nevertheless, the notification to all involved was put out there. We said, and we voted on, we got a majority vote on this dais, that it would be due in June. It is June. Last time I checked my calendar. So that is the discussion I'd like to have on this dais. As far as the time frame, I am open to any time frame that this dais would like to have. June was what we set before, but I respect that we have new commissioners, and that was my point in bringing up the evaluations.
Thank you, Mayor. I would agree with Dr. Wood, and we did somehow end up with the date of June, and I just want to point out that it wasn't just a vote, it was a unanimous vote. The entire commission, including the mayor, agreed to the evaluation and was instrumental in the process. Now, I agree with what she said, is that I would also say I'm not calling for it to happen today because we do have 2 new commissioners, but what I would suggest that I think a better time frame right now would be to consider looking at it around late August, early September to complete those evaluations and have it done somewhere around the time that we complete our budget and have our budget information done before we roll over to the next fiscal year. I said that because it would give our new commissioners a decent enough time to provide credible feedback on an evaluation. So we're looking at May, June, July, August, September. That would be nearly almost 6 months. It'll give you time to provide some credible feedback. So I don't disagree with my colleague on that, that it doesn't have to happen today, but it does need to happen. Also, I would also like for, at some point, the clerk, if she would share what was agreed upon at the time we voted, because I think that's ultimately important. So if we're not going to move forward with the evaluations, then we truly need to take a serious look, commissioners, at what it takes to rescind that vote or to undo that vote, and to do that the proper way if we're not going to do this. Thank you.
Commissioner, I voted on, yes, I voted and agreed on the instrument regardless to whatever person was in the three positions. And I was wanting to be in alignment with the personnel policies and contracts that were in place. So yes, I agree with the instrument and the use of an instrument when we have persons in the positions. So to correct, yes, I did agree to the instrument. Commissioner?
The vote was to do the evaluations in June. So that was a vote that was taken.
Yes,
And all agreed, not only on the instrument, but the time frame.
I have
So
no
just to
problem with the
clarify
time
that.
frame, but
Okay.
I have no problem with the time frame. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay. So where do you want to go with this in terms of a recommendation was made for August, September? Our two commissioners have not seen the instrument, so they need some time to review it. So we can table the discussion or the motion for the next meeting.
Mayor.
Well, the instrument is in the packet. They should have received that at their home address. So the instruments for all three are in the notebook that we received. All the evaluation instruments are in the notebook. So I would ask that we come up with a date for these evaluations to be completed.
You want to put it in a motion so that, or first of all, comments from the other commissioner, any regarding the instruments? So you want to make a motion in terms of,
I'll make a motion that we complete evaluations by September 30th.
it's been moved in second that we complete evaluations per those that are in the packet for the following positions, city manager, city clerk, and city attorney. Are you ready for the question? You said time frame of
September
September.
30th is.
Are you ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposers? No. The motion passes 3-2. So September 2025 will be the time frame in which we do evaluations for the city manager, city clerk, and city attorney.
By September 30th.
She said September, so it could be September 1st or 30th.
Oh, I said September 30th.
September 30th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, September 30th. I did not hear that, Commissioner Harris, thank you. Okay, thank you. September 30th, evaluations will be done. The next item, there is a speaker.
Okay.
Dr. Stark, Ward, you wanted to speak on economic development.
Thank you. I wanted to read something, Habakkuk 2:2, and it says, "And God answered," this is the Message translation, "Write this, write what you see, write it out in big blocks, letters, so that it can be read on the run, sorry. This vision message is a witness pointing to what's coming. It aches for the coming. It can hardly wait, and it doesn't lie. If it seems slow, it's coming. Wait, it's on the way. It will come right on time." Proverbs 29:18 says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law happy is he. I'm glad that you brought up economic development is indicative in order for us to grow. I just want to offer some suggestions. I would like for us to establish a Quincy Economic Task Force, pulling together a working group of business owners and nonprofits, faith leaders, and city officials that could help think out the box, because you guys are tasked with a big assignment. I think that if you include the community, some things can change. We can meet monthly, publish minutes publicly, and set 90-day measurable goals. I would like to see a lot of these dilapidated or abandoned lots into micro farms, agribusiness. Our city is a food desert. We have high diabetes, high cardiovascular. One of the things that I do as a farmer, I do eat plant-based. I had some people out there today on the farm. We had to deliver a kid today. I'm teaching them agriculture things and farming. We got a lot of pak choy, a lot of vegetables. But if I can teach them a small trade, then hopefully they might be able to work on somebody's farm to make some money for themselves. So I have the last thing that I want to maybe we can create a Buy Quincy campaign where we can get the pastors involved, influencers involved, and get folks to shop Quincy, spend a lot of money in Quincy to help increase economic development. And also where we can work with some of our children. Lastly, where's it at? In light of what took place with ICE, maybe we can launch a workforce development trade skills pipeline for some of those people that are unemployed on the streets. Maybe we can partner with Gaston Tech, Lively Tech, FAMU to offer satellite certification programs like HVAC, CDL, CNA, welding. One of the key things, I told you before, I feed about 250, 300 people a week. I'm in the streets, boots on the ground. I talk to these people. There are some brilliant people that are out there. They just fell on their luck, bad luck. How can we help them move? I guarantee you, if we move them to another area, meaning mentally, and they start working, I guarantee you, you'll see a decrease in crime, drugs, prostitution, and some other things. We just got to be able to come together collectively. And I like the drink that she was drinking. It's called Synergy. If we work together, I know we can bring some change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stallworth. Thank you for your comments. I think you hit on several of the things that we have in our draft strategic plan. I think, Mr. Nixon, you gave this to, I don't know how long ago. We tend to get things in it, but this draft strategic plan, some of the things you talked about, I wanted to bring this up because I see our city in some cases dying. And I know that's a harsh word, but I want to see it blossom. I want to see it grow. I want us to go into these communities. He hit on the very thing with the dilapidated houses. They're extreme in some cases. I know in District 1 there are way too many, and I'm sure in other districts up here as well, but I would like us to take a multifaceted approach. I think that we need to look at where are our strengths now when it comes to economic development. I hate to see businesses come here and then in less than a year they're out of business, they're closed. I would like us to grow this city. And I know that starts with infrastructure. I realize that. But I think we need to go on a huge campaign to bring people to Quincy and let them experience what we love so much about this rural community. I look at Thomasville and Bainbridge and Mariana, they're growing. I want us to do the same. We need to bring jobs. We need this economic development in our city. And there are ways, I love the idea of the economic task force. I think that's a brilliant idea. That's wonderful. But I really want to know, Mr. Nixon, what's in the, what's in the works? What can we look forward to? We always talk about negative things up here, but what can we look forward to for the citizens of Quincy?
Yeah, thank you. And thank Dr. Stallworth for his comments as well. I've been in economic development since 1995. I've worked at the state level with Enterprise Florida, where I wrote policy for economic development. I became a practitioner, ran county level programs. There are some things that we have seen that are very successful. Quincy is in a perfect position to be the next big thing in this region. We have the land that's available. What we don't have is infrastructure, as you addressed, but we do have these activities that we've engaged in. We have grant projects that are based on housing that have allowed us to extend infrastructure. The new apartments by Walmart, part of that we received a grant so that we can enhance infrastructure there down 267. We need to get to the I-10 interchange. When we did these things in the past to benefit the hotels, we ran water there. For some reason, we did not take it upon ourselves to put in larger lines. So now we have companies that come to that area that need more water, then we got to tear up the streets and we got to make, so we've got to plan better. The other thing I think that we have done a better job in recent years is dealing with our greatest asset, and that's our people. We need to make sure that we have our educational institutions working with our employers so that they can come up with a curriculum to give our students and our young people the tools and the knowledge they need to take the jobs now and the jobs of the future. The other thing is we've got to invest better. In small towns like ours, government has to prime the pump. But we have to do that strategically because we don't have bags of money laying around like we used to have in certain departments. Right now, we need to be very calculated. When we have things like Gulf Breeze and we have monies that we're earning through Florida Class A Investment Group, the commission has to commit those funds to things that benefit economic development. Right now, we participate with the Gaston County Development Council. We've hosted them here. They had an office here. Gaston County has an economic development department. We have the Chamber of Commerce, Quincy Main Street. We already have a comprehensive plan which the state says is your strategic plan by law. We've developed our own local kind of tweaks to that so that from an operational standpoint, then we can do that. And I look forward to the new commissioners providing some input on that, not just on the plan itself, but also on the measurement tools. That Buy Quincy campaign is an excellent idea because we've got to get people to shop locally. We've got to empower our communities, retailers in particular, to offer products that our citizens really, really want and that they can afford to pay for. We still have to deal with the reality that you have big boxes like Walmart who meet a lot of our needs. But having the convenience of a Walmart also impacts those very small businesses. So we've got to come up with a happy medium. I do like the comment about attracting people here, but we've got to deal with that from a regulatory standpoint because as we know in this community, we really have a hard time dealing with noise, litter, and all those things that result when you have large crowds that come into our venues, which all happen to be located in your neighborhoods. So we got to figure out some give and take there as well. Most importantly, I think that we have got to change our local narrative. I've been here 20 years. I got married 20 years ago. I've been here 22 years in Gaston County. I've been living in Quincy since I became the city manager. Lived in Midway before that. The one thing that I've heard that is always disheartening is I hear everybody say the negative. Nobody recognizes a lot of the good. Can we improve? Yes. Should we improve? Yes, we will. But first of all, we need people to support the businesses that are here. Citizens know that I'm frequently in our commercial districts, especially in the evenings, and we see two things. We see empty parking spaces because our citizens have been oriented for a different experience. Most of us want to run over to Tallahassee because it's convenient, and then we have more choices. At one time, that was the place to go. But in doing so, we'll run to Thomasville, we'll run to Bainbridge. But then when local businesses like downtown, we'll go for a month or two, and then we stop going, and they can't afford the overhead. And so they come with these ideas. We have got to have a comprehensive, well-conceived effort that we want to call a plan, but we've also got to have people that support it. We've got to invest and spend our dollars locally. We've got to recruit companies here that can pay more than a living wage so we can afford to dine here and shop here. All these things are connected because if our citizens earn more, then we know that they'll improve their homes. They'll buy new homes. And as you know, historically in this country, homes have served as the primary tool for families to transfer wealth from one generation to the next. In Quincy, unfortunately, what we see is dilapidated homes that aren't worth the land that they're built on. And we've got to do something about that. The final thing I'll add to that is that we're all responsible. While I am very proud, this commission has, for the last two commissions, probably had the best IQ of any commissioners that have been around. They are smart people, well-accomplished people, but if we don't have consensus, if we don't have continuity, we don't have communication, that we can provide leadership, because people do perish when there's a lack of vision. Well, we can't be afraid to let some things die, because that's a normal lifestyle. Businesses aren't designed to last forever. We've got to allow some things to die so we can bring new things in. We've got to get rid of some of those old mindsets. We've got to change our culture, because the things that we do up here, for example, those things are projected across the globe now through social media. So if they see us disjointed and arguing and not being professional, they say, who wants to come there and deal with that? We've got to send a message. County Commissioner Brenda Holt always tells this story about traveling to a community, I think it's in Mississippi. And she said, everywhere you go, from the barber shop to the convenience store to the corporate head, everybody was saying the same message about the community. So we can do this, but it takes all of us to be focused on making our community better, to being the best people we can be, because we're better than what we're doing now. And I'm committed, the staff has been committed, but we are experts now of solving crises, and that's no way to govern. When our backs are against the wall, when there's a storm, we know how to respond when there's an emergency. We've got to be thoughtful, we've got to plan, and we've got to invest. And all of us will not see the increase. But if we don't do it now, then Quincy is not going to be any better 10 years from now than it is today. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Commissioner.
I would echo a lot of what everyone up here at this table has said. Part of the platform of when I ran was economic development. And one of the things, we talk a lot about Bainbridge and Thomasville, and heck, go over to Chattahoochee now and see what's going on in downtown Chattahoochee with new brick sidewalks and restaurants. And, I think they've got more restaurants in Chattahoochee than we've got in Quincy. And at least it appears that way when you're on Highway 90. One of the things that Bainbridge did is they came together and set aside the differences that the city and the county had, much like we've had differences with the city and Gadsden County. They issued I think it was a $50 million bond issue. And they used those funds to improve the infrastructure at both the city and county industrial park. They made those parks shovel ready. That's why you've seen the plethora of businesses coming into Bainbridge. Taurus Manufacturing. Taurus Manufacturing, one of the largest firearms manufacturers in the United States, moved their national headquarters from Miami-Dade County to Bainbridge. Moved over 100 employees, most of those Cuban Americans, to Bainbridge, right? Think about culture shock, coming from Miami-Dade, anywhere in Miami-Dade to Bainbridge. But they love it. And that has led to other businesses coming into Bainbridge. They have a 100,000 square foot indoor, climate-controlled truss company. Now they got Publix being built. You know, my wife and I have date day on Sunday after church. We go to Bainbridge. That's where we go to eat lunch. Because we have more variety up there. And she loves to go up there and shop. She wishes they had those kind of shops in Bainbridge here that we have up there. She tried to open one of those shops years ago, and it didn't last a year because she didn't get any support from this community, her and her partner. And, you know, we see businesses come and go. But I think that, you know, we're perfectly situated with Pat Thomas Parkway and that interchange, right? Midway, thanks to DeVoe Moore, you know, let's, you know, give credit where credit's due. DeVoe Moore developed 1090, and that led to Flying J and the other Flying J. You know, we've got all that land out there. We've got city property off of, is it Adams Road, I think, out behind the Armory, right? We've got industrial land. Let's see what it's going to take to extend that sewer, to extend that water, to get the heavy electrical that we would need to bring businesses in. You know, look, let's go after the manufacturing companies. Hey, look, they may not have to be the largest gun manufacturer in the United States, but, you know, let's start with the 50 to 75s that pay good jobs. Let's go for the warehousing. You know, you look at what Family Dollar did over in Jackson County. I think it was Family Dollar. If not, yeah, it was Family Dollar. You know, I think they've now got a 1 million square foot facility over there. And the reason they were able to sell that, and I know I represented for 12 years the Regional Workforce Development Association. That's all the Career Source Florida offices in the state. They were able to sell that. Jackson County was able to sell that because they said, look, we got a bunch of farm boys who know how to weld, and they can fix anything. We can convert those skills to help you build and maintain this facility, because that's what they're worried about when you have a big warehouse like that is keeping those conveyor belts going, keeping those systems going, having welders, and to be able to do all those things. And speaking of that, they now got another company in Bainbridge. Bainbridge economic development guy said if he could find 100 people with welding skills, he could put them to work today in Bainbridge. So, you know, I think that needs to be one of our driving goals as we look to economic development is let's use that resource we have. You know, people would love, you know, Bluntstown, my mother's on the city council in Bluntstown. Bluntstown would love to be right next to I-10. You know, they would love to be right next to I-10. You're talking about a town that dried up. You know, when I grew up in Bluntstown, Roscoe Shipyard, Abby-Tibby, major textile manufacturing. We had seven pharmacies in Bluntstown in the 1970s. 7. Now there's 1. You know, now there's 1. Same thing here, right? I'm sure we had 6 or 7 pharmacies. I remember the Rexall, Massey's. Now we got, who you got across the street from each other? Wherever there's Walgreens, there's a CVS, right? And good for them. At least we have them, right? But, I think that, you know, and I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes with the Boys and Girls Club, but, you know, Senator Simon challenged our community back in February, if that's when the delegation hearing was. Folks, do better. Work together. Let's collaborate. And that's the message I'm going to bring to my item here in a few minutes. But I'm all on board. You got my, let's get going.
I agree. If we put it in, put the vision on pen and paper, then there's a better chance that we'll make it real. So we started off with some goals and objectives. We need to expand those and make sure that we have included everything we want in our vision so that we can. Thank you. I didn't turn it on. we can make the vision available to all, and everybody can benefit. Commissioner Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Mayor.
Are
I
you
do
still-
think
I'm sorry.
that I'm going to wrap up this with economic development,
Okay.
but one of the things I want to say is that I have seen billboards here in Quincy that says, I think, visit Bainbridge or visit Thomasville. In our city, we have billboards up. We need to do the same thing. We need to do a media campaign to invite people into this city. I did not know there was a new restaurant opening in downtown Quincy, a barbecue, Fats Barbecue or some barbecue place. I'm sorry, not Fats, that's no. It was an F, I got that right, okay. Sorry, Fason's Barbecue. So if we don't know, I mean, I sit on the city commission, I did not know we had a new business downtown. So again, invite people in. Let them know what's here. Some people even people right here in Quincy, some of our citizens, we just don't know what all is downtown, but we got so many other areas that we can definitely expand. And I-10, you hit on something there, Commissioner. We are in a prime location. Coming off of I-10, you are in Quincy, and there is nothing there. You don't even know that the Walmart exists because there's nothing on the sign coming off the interstate that says Walmart is, half a mile, whatever it is, down the road. We don't know that Walmart is there. Their sign cannot be seen from the interstate. I know that's not us. Let me clarify. That's not the city's fault. But we need to invite people in. Use these billboards. Let's use the media. Let's make some of these events, these grand openings, let's make them grand. Because those are things that we could control and we can do. And I agree, one warehouse, one business that can employ hundreds of people, that's going to open the door for Quincy. We don't have to do 25 things. Do one grand thing and bring people in.
Yes, doing one thing well.
Yes, do it well.
Do it well. And I agree. I didn't know that we had a restaurant downtown either. Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Most people probably don't know, y'all know Commissioner Knight drives school buses, and he was my bus driver for my band trip back in the spring, and as much as I wanted to talk to him about it, he was on the commission with me, so we couldn't talk about it. But I saw something very surprising, and we hit on it. So I'm going to go back to it in just a second, but I saw something very surprising between I-10, US 331, headed to Highway 98. When I was out at West Gas, we used to play a little school down there called Freeport, and when I tell you there was nothing in Freeport, absolutely nothing but just highway and trees, and then a school sat there. Now you go on 331 from I-10 all the way to 98 to the coast. There is nothing but businesses, housing, apartments, more businesses, grocery stores, Publix, any restaurant you want to name. And so we know what it takes to get those things here, because I hear a lot of people talk about the amenities. We want restaurants, we want grocery stores, we want these things here in our city. But in order for them to come, the people have to come. Take Crawfordville, for example. Crawfordville didn't develop the way Crawfordville is today by utilizing the community that was originally in Crawfordville. Crawfordville had an influx of people coming in buying houses. We got to figure out what it takes to attract individuals who are going to buy houses above what our current median income is. So we can't just build low-income houses. We're going to have to build some high-end houses. We're going to have to build houses. We're going to have the income to increase. Quincy looks like the income of our medium households right now. And so until we change those demographics, whether it be bringing people in or doing what the manager mentioned earlier, which was how do we improve the income of the current individuals that are here, we're not going to see these restaurants. The businesses aren't coming to a city where over 50% of the people are struggling to pay their utility bill, because they know if you're struggling to pay the utility bill, you're not going to be in the restaurants. And so those are the things that we're facing. So the number one thing that we need to start taking a look at, well, number 1 and 2, we can do it simultaneously. We really need a serious infrastructure plan. What is the plan going to be? And we cannot be afraid to invest. I'm going to go back to the Walmart example. She used it, and I know she said, well, that's not us. But it could be. I don't think Walmart would be opposed to us saying, hey, the city of Quincy want to fund a sign to go up on I-10 to get the people off of I-10 into our city. I don't think they'll be opposed to it. You know, however, that's what we call investment. No, it's not necessarily the city of Quincy. No, it might not necessarily, you know, it's going to cost us something, but are we willing to invest to get the people in the city? You know, and I thought that was a good example because you're right. No one would know a Walmart is there. When I travel I-10 from here to New Orleans, I pull off every exit when I see the Walmart sign. All you need, and I just pull in, you know. Housing. We've got to figure out what housing looks like. What are we going to do? You know, what is the housing plan? I know we have a strategic plan, but I would like to have a pullout at some point where we can get together and talk about what the housing looks like and pull it out of our strategic plan and maybe have it separate, set aside so that we can look at this moving forward. These are the kinds of things that if we're going to change the way Quincy look, we got to get people here. We got to get people living here. And then my last thing, and I will close, Mayor, is we talk about industry. We've got to figure out how to be the incubator for Gas and Technical College or Gas and Technical Institute, GTC, and what the city of Quincy and Gaston County want to see happen. Because businesses aren't coming to an area where you don't have a workforce that is trained. And when you look at our statistics and our school system, and they start looking at the data, the first thing they say, I don't have people that I can employ. That's what they say on the surface. But we've got to figure out how to change that mindset by having programs that are geared toward the industry that is coming here or that we want to come here. So if we're going to build cars, if we're going to build welding, we need to have a massive welding program going on at GTC so that they will have individuals that they know, hey, I have somebody I can reach, can go right to work as soon as, you know, they're done with that program. So those are the things. Now, I like this kind of conversation, Mr. Manager. This is the kind of conversation that City Commission is supposed to be having. And so I'm looking forward to those workshops. Now, those other workshops y'all like to have, y'all have them. I want to talk about these workshops right here. Now, I really want to have a conversation. You know, y'all do pretty good with the breakfasts at the Art Center. Let's do it. And let's get back to having the conversations that we used to have, Madam Clerk, and let's get the ball rolling. Thank you. Appreciate the time, Mayor.
Okay, I have two other people who want to talk.
Yes,
Miss Regina Davis.
You'll have to forgive me, I wrote on my hand. Regina Davis, 315 West Washington Street. I completely agree as it relates to education. I think there are two challenges, education being the first as it relates to overall Quincy. The second for downtown, for you all who didn't know about Fason's, they had a soft opening. It was great. They'll have the grand opening on Saturday. Hope you all will be there. It's at 14 North Adams. Our nonprofit is the owner of the building. We want them to succeed. The last person that was in one of those units, she couldn't succeed because of parking, which is an issue. People are coming to downtown and opening businesses, but people can't park in order to do anything. You all used to have a parking person that would mark the tires. I don't know where they are, but we need them. We need the county, instead of parking on the street, they got that huge parking lot back there that's always empty. They need, somehow, we need to demand that they use their space. Economic development in general. I-10 exit. When I was a CRA manager, this was before any of you all, I brought a proposal. I had a water park. They wanted to come. All we needed to do was to provide a feasibility study. $10,000 is what I asked for a feasibility study. I couldn't get it approved. So, you know, between Panama City and where is it, Valdosta? There's nothing. This is the perfect place because with that would have been Bob Evans and Embassy Suites. But I got a no for $10,000. So I hope
that you all are going to be more forward-thinking than what was here before. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Knight.
I just want to know, do you still have that plan on file?
I usually keep everything I do. Yes, sir.
Please bring that back to us.
We have Mr. Josh Kiva.
I'm Joshua Keever at 213 Talcott Hideaway Road. I'm the executive director for Quincy Main Street. It's great hearing everybody talk about economic vitality and growth, because that's a lot of what we try to do. And speaking of people bringing negatives and not hearing enough positives, we've got a lot of positive stuff going on downtown. We've got the old Masonic Temple is being renovated. It's going to be apartments, and we're hoping to get some kind of retail space in the bottom. We've got a brewery opening soon. Faison's Way is open. This Saturday is their grand opening, and they're going to be open 7 days a week. We have had a lack of businesses being open on Monday because of the parking issue, because pretty much downtown is full of cars on Mondays, but there's almost no restaurants, no stores open on those days. So it's rough when that's the day you've got the most people in town, and that's the day that no one can get any business done. So we have been very successful lately in getting some of those businesses and buildings purchased and renovated and ready for businesses. And we're happy to work with everyone we can to get more people into downtown Quincy and Quincy itself. So we're happy to be involved in any kind of economic plan that goes forward. We'll say, because of our nonprofit status, our mandate is the 9 blocks of downtown, the historic district, but we're happy to help the greater Quincy area however we can. So just give us a call.
Thank you. Can, you had quite a bit, Mr. Saab.
Yes, ma'am. It's on there.
Okay, would you come and
Yes, ma'am.
forth and speak?
I agree, but the main focus before we can do it jointly with the educational system and allowing parents to know the stability of what they have as a family unit. The only growth that we can get is income. There's going to be no subsidies this year. We need to make that loud and clear, because people are going to be saying, well, Quincy should be doing this. Quincy, they've already set the program, but they're cutting back. So our best avenue is education. With that education, our advertisement, just like you had at the schools when I was growing up in the 50s, okay? You had the milk, you had the astronauts, you advertise within. You get to that structure within, and you make the family, the mothers and fathers, send their kids to what? To school. And it changes not only the behavior, but that's economic development, because it's within. Everything I heard is from outside is coming in, but the stability is within. So our absolute best bet is to join partnerships with the school system to advertise the needs of various possessions of skills within. They don't have to catch the bus. They don't have to go to Tallahassee. It's right here within. And if we can resonate that information, that's the head. That's the beginning. Everything has to start with the beginning. And everything I've heard is from the top down. We're going to start from the beginning of growth in family structures. There's going to be no more grants. There's going to be no more subsidies. This has to come within. And they're making it quite clear now, all over America. Making it clear. And it's time for us to make it clear.
All right.
You need a job.
Thank you, Mr. Sapp. Have you, that
Almost. One more thing, Mayor, if I may.
okay.
City manager, the parking, I'm just kind of hearing about the parking downtown. Is the Andy Gay Park, does that include some additional parking if we ever get that? Is that part of the plan?
And get those, we put those monies aside so we can get those parking meters downtown so that we can regulate parking. We also need to make sure we can encourage people to park. All of us need to walk a little bit more, I think. So I think a short walk to a shop downtown. And remember, we had even started doing sipping strolls around downtown to highlight. We need to do things like that so people get comfortable again walking. One of the major elements in Mayor Nash would remember this because part of the R2P2 plan, we talked about multimodal transportation. A big kernel of that was making sure that people could walk from neighborhoods to these areas safely. So we want to encourage that because most of the communities now that are very progressive are walkable. And when you walk downtown, you start to see things happening. Right now we have people pass through downtown, but they don't stop and stay. Parking is an issue, but the other issue is making sure we look at it from a regulatory standpoint so that these buildings are safe. You did a great job through the CRA on South Adams because at one time, no business there could get insurance because they were in such bad shape. Then they were able to qualify for the state program, but these are issues that we have to tackle quickly. So I'll bring something back about the parking because that's low-hanging fruit in my opinion.
Another project in the R2P2 was walking trails so that individuals would be encouraged to walk from various neighborhoods to downtown. And that was one of 5 projects that was brought along with the hometown revitalization, which is building up Washington Street and the Andy Gay Park. Commissioner Mike, did you have your hand up? Okay. Okay. Moving to who? Okay, thank you. Rodeo. The next item is pool alternatives.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mayor. I think Ms. Davis, I think she kind of hit on this. I was like, one of the things I said, from our joint meeting with the county, I think it was last week, Monday, thank you, I'm sorry, I get my days mixed up. So one of the things that was, I guess, a point of contention was the pool with the Boys and Girls Club. And I know I'm not going to touch on Boys and Girls Club. I'm going to let Commissioner Stevens talk about that. But my thing was this. The city, we sold our pool to the school board. Why can we not find our own funding, get our own grant, and we rebuild our pool where we want to put it? Without waiting on phase 5 or 6 or whatever the phase was from the county, but we take the lead and provide a pool, or I like the idea of even that water park. You may want to take some, I think the kids would probably prefer that almost, but I still say we could get that pool, maybe look at some funding for that pool and give our students, I'm sorry, I think I'm in school, our citizens and the children of our citizens somewhere to go without relying just on the county. We can do this ourselves. Now, we have several properties too that we can put a city pool on. So Mr. Nixon, boots on the ground, looking at opportunities for funding, and I've looked at some, and we'll have a discussion when we have our meeting, some of the grants that are available. They're giving millions of dollars just for pool safety. Millions. So I think we can tap into this on our own without having to include that in the discussion with the county, and let us take our own lead on that pool.
Next is Commissioner Lane and Boys and Girls. Second. Good.
On the pool, I guess my question or comment.
Harris.
Have we taken a look? Well, first of all, are we still in agreement with the Regional Planning Council?
No.
No? Okay. Then I would like for us to, I agree with what Dr. Wood said. However, I like things to be planned out and ready to go. What would it cost us? What does a cost look like? And so we'll know what type of funding, because sometimes, it could just be a budgetary thing that we could just consider looking in our budget to see how can we pull some dollars, especially if we're continuing to get funds like we're getting from the capital, from the trust. If we're getting those funds and non-recurring funds, we can use some of those and target some of those funds for different capital projects that we want to see happen within our city. And so, and the maintaining of the building is already it was looking to our city. So it wouldn't like to be incurring any additional costs that we haven't seen before. So I would like to see, I don't know who to go to, that would possibly give us a plan and what that would look like and where a prime location would be. I think that's the place, I think that's the direction we should start looking at.
All right. Can we move on?
Yeah, well, let me answer his question about the cost, because I did look into that as well.
Okay.
So as far as the cost of a pool, it can be as much as $1 million for an Olympic-sized pool from my research. And we put $1 million into a lot of things. And we may not want an Olympic-sized pool, but if you wanted one of that magnitude, it could be as much as $1 million upfront from my research.
That's just the building
Right.
that contains, it does not the surrounding area in terms of parking. So there are additional aspects to that as well.
Correct.
So moving to Boys and Girls Club, Commissioner Long.
Thank you. And I had some great notes that I had made on my speaking points on this issue, and I went off and left them laying on my desk. But so I hastily cobbled some together. As Dr. Wood mentioned, Monday a week ago, we had an interlocal meeting with the county. We came to agreement on Adams Street. We came to agreement on our fire service contract for the past and moving forward. The county residents are very happy for the 5-mile radius language. I got a lot of pats on the back last night. And we kind of left Boys and Girls Club just kind of still up in the air. My phone rang off the hook last week about Boys and Girls Club. Then on Wednesday we went to, several of us were invited to attend a community event at Carter Paramore, focusing on, it was around kind of a, just a general discussion with about 60 to 80 people there, I would think. And those discussions centered around mental health advocacy and support, homelessness prevention and outreach, senior connection and support, and the last focus group is going to be on teen engagement and well-being, which brings me back to Boys and Girls Club. I'll go back to the comments that Senator Simon made earlier this year, where he emphatically encouraged all of us to look for ways to work better together. And, I took it upon myself. I know a lot of us were scratching our heads trying to figure out what's the best place for this Boys and Girls Club to be. I'm no expert in Boys and Girls Clubs, but I reached out to the national headquarters of Boys and Girls Club and asked to speak to someone at their organization about location. And I was contacted by a gentleman who represents the national organization over a number of states, including Florida. He was actually in Orlando, headed back to the airport to fly back to Atlanta when he and I talked. And I talked to him about the three scenarios that were generally discussed at the meeting. Somewhere over on MLK and that waffle kind of back and forth between the track, or now the county's got land down in front of the old nursing home, Strong Road facility they have, and then the land next to the Farolito Center. And his, diplomatic and politically correct answer was, we'll work with whatever the community wants to do. We're happy to come in and work with whatever's presented. And I said, well, sir, that's not quite the question I was trying to ask. I said, let me ask it in this way. Under these three scenarios, which one do you think is going to have the best opportunity to be successful? Right? Is it on the outskirts of town next to a charter school, a very successful charter school? Is it over off of another area, where there's not a congregation facility, if you will, for children, or next to an existing recreation center that would remain the Farolito Recreation Center, that already has a basketball, it's a basketball court. It has, I think they have weightlifting equipment and those kind of things there. And oh, by the way, it's going to be next to the brand new K-8, countywide K-8 school that, boy, I'm happy to say they broke ground on. They put the pipes in the ground for the fence last week, and I think the swimming pool met its demise today. And if not today, tomorrow. And so I asked him, I said, I know all of these would work, but which one has the best opportunity for success? And he says, as close as you can get to that captured audience, that K-8 school and next to that existing recreation center, I think gives you the best chance for success. Didn't guarantee, but that's what he said. So that gets back to, and I'm glad to hear Dr. Wood bring up the pool, and there were issues in the interlocal agreement, pushing it out 10 years and those kind of things, and that kind of gave me some angst as well. And I'm like, well, why can't we just go off and do that on our own? And I'm fully supportive of that idea. So I'm here tonight to suggest this to the citizens and to this board. In the spirit of cooperation, in the spirit of accepting the challenge that Senator Simon put to our community, our whole community, not just the city or the county, but everyone. I'm of the opinion, and I would make a motion, that we not enter into a 99-year or a 50-year lease with the county, because that just, to me, complicates things. I say we just give them the property. Let them go and build the Boys and Girls Club, with the caveat that if it's not built, it reverts back to the city. That we just give them that property. That's our contribution to make a better place for our children. That's one of the things that was discussed at that meeting last Wednesday. We got to think about our children. Right behind that facility, there's a big prefab building that Graves Williams owns. And I went and talked to Mr. Graves. I said, would you be willing to sell that building? That's a huge building. It could be converted very easily into a Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Graves told me, he said, Lane, that's the one building I cannot sell unless I sell everything. Because that building is the one where they gas the tomatoes. You know, that's the preservative that they use. Very safe. They've been doing it for 20 years. He said, but Lane, if I get rid of that building, I can't operate. And he said, so I can't do that. He said, I wish I could. He said, you have a great idea. That would be a great place for it. Now, he's willing to sell the property right across the street between Washington and the Dollar Tree and Burger King. He said, I'm all ears about selling this because I don't use it that much. But that's going to take time, and we don't have time. We have to, move this facility along. I had some very prominent people call me suggesting that we need to move this forward, and it needs to be over by that Farolito Center. And so my recommendation would be, in the spirit of compromise, in the spirit of building a place where we would still remember Ty Bennett at that location, that we move that. And if you're not willing to give it, I'll entertain a 99-year lease. But I'm just trying to be a co-partner, if you will, in helping to make this a reality. So that's my pitch, and with that, I'll sit back and listen to what everybody has to say.
Before I call you, Commissioner Harris, Mr. Elias wanted to have a comment, and he's gone. Okay. He's gone. Mr. Sapp, you're saying you want to speak on this topic? Yes. Oh, okay. May I have Mr. Sapp come up and speak on it, and then I'll recognize you.
The city has went over backwards with this project years ago. They went over backwards. That was one of the first things they asked for the county to do. The county said no. The county went on to MLK, went through the neighborhood like they did always, got petitions for the citizens to sign that they agreed that they would have that event off of MLK. In the meantime, the city is looking at YMCA for not just a set of people, but for the entire community, from 1 to 100. And that's an ideal location for the North and the South to share it as one community. And be in one for all the citizens. That's ours. And that should be our goal for everybody, since they relentlessly went out in the community. You were here, you were the lawyer, got our citizens to sign a petition to agree to have that park over there. For us nails and two. You were here. Mayor, you were here. You were aware of it. And they made us agree, and the citizens to agree, that that Boys and Girls Club would take place over there. We have the jewel. The YMCA would be a perfect location for the North and the South, and for all of our citizens, not just for that set of rules. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you.
May I respond?
Let me hear Commissioner Harris, and I'll come back to you.
No, you can respond if you want to respond to him. Mr. Sapp.
Okay.
So I have nothing against the YMCA.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the executive director of the YMCA and I tried to talk last Thursday.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he was in a torrential downpour in Tallahassee in his car, and I was in a torrential downpour trying to fix my sister-in-law's car that was broke down on the side of the road in Havana. And so it wasn't the time to talk. I have been approached by other people about the YMCA, and it's not an all or other. It is nothing to say that the Y could not also, it's a big facility over there. It could be a big facility. Nothing to say it could not also have facilities for the Y. But don't try to think that just because I'm sitting here having support for the Boys and Girls Club, I don't support YMCA. I'm not saying that at all. But what I know is that the county has $4 million that they need to spend on a Boys and Girls Club, and so that's what I'm trying to move along. And earlier you were up here espousing that the youth are our future, and so that's my focus.
I'm with you about the future, but I'm not for a particular set of people. I'm for the entire community, and that's what they offer, and we have that property. And once we release that property, where will the YMCA go? For both the North and the South, if someone can call it.
Mr. Sam.
This is unity, and I'm more interested in unity, a bird in the hand that we can develop. Not only that, you're absolutely right.
Mr.
We
Sam.
got enough room. Yes, ma'am. Not the clock.
Yes,
Trying
please.
to address the commissioner with respect. Pro Tem said something.
Yeah.
All right.
I think he understands. But our item is the Boys and Girls Club, and I think we need to stay focused on that. Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just, I didn't go to I wasn't at that meeting that you had, and I'm not surprised that it was left undecided at that meeting, because there's been a whole lot of back and forth. Well, not a whole lot. We came to an agreement. Let me be clear on that. There was an agreement on the MLK property. Initially, it wasn't the ideal site. I think initially we talked about using the Quincy Recreation Department. And since that time, I've come to a different idea about utilizing that property. But I will say this, and I'm glad you did, Mayor Pro Tem. You've done a wonderful job here serving as a real estate agent for Mr. Graves Williams. You did a good job on that. And I'm going to say these words. I am about sick and tired of monies and properties and things that are here to benefit the community and benefit our children. We're making decisions based on some adult in their real estate ventures. All of a sudden now he's ready to sell everything over there off of right next to the rec center. My issue is this: the same argument we say put the Boys and Girls Club near your target audience. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. However, 80 to 90% of those children who go to school there don't live in that community at all. Now, the one thing that the Gaston County school system have that the Boys and Girls Club won't have here in Gaston County is state-funded transportation. Anywhere we put a Boys and Girls Club needs to be in the community in which they're going to serve the kids. Kids are in school 180 days a year. They don't have a problem getting there. We got kids who go to high school. Every child in Gaston County go to Gaston County High School, or they're zoned for Gaston County High School, and there are no houses around there. We have no problem getting them there because of state-funded transportation. You wouldn't put a Boys and Girls Club out there because your target audience is out there. That wouldn't make sense. How would they get home? How would they get to and from the Boys and Girls Club? And I said that to say this: if the target audience for those children are on the south side of 90, which most of them are and will be, the MLK property will be the place for it. Any expansion or anything you need, you have it right there on the track. In the city of Quincy, we did our part. We did everything that we were supposed to do in working with the county. Now all of a sudden the county or whomever got these bright ideas. Now they want to come back over there because now they want to buy somebody's property. And we're not even so sure that the county is even in a place to purchase that property. We know he told you he'd sell it, but what if the county don't buy it? Is the city going to buy it? Because I just don't see, it just does not make sense to put a brand new Boys and Girls Club building next to the recreation center that is literally landlocked by all this stuff that's going on around it, And we're talking about putting the building there just to buy property to have to expand, to even have parking, because where would they park? We struggle enough with parking at the recreation center. And I will say this, how much life does that recreation center have? Because I would hope that within the next few years, maybe the next decade, I probably won't be here, that Quincy will be looking down the road to build a new recreation center. I'm just not buying this. It's just so convenient now that all of a sudden we ready, because they got $4 million ready to spend it. We've already went through the process, talked to the community, had those, I don't know, what was it, a community meeting and all this stuff out there, got the community buy-in. Even Miss Hannah bought into it, believe it or not. Now, if you sold Miss Hannah, then you sold her. You know, I mean, you sold the community. But my point is, we did all of this work, and now all of a sudden we want to go and move somewhere else because it's convenient. I ain't no. Let me tell you something. I ain't the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, but I'm also not a plastic ornament either. I get it. You know, cranking me up here. Want me to be heard. But I'm just not understanding the direction we're going in, because I'm missing the drawback on the MLK property that we already agreed on to give them. I don't get it. And now we're asking to give them what's next to the I'm just not buying. I'm not getting it. It ain't making sense to me. Not at this point.
Well, I know we'll limit it and running out of time in terms of being able to partner with the county on this.
They're running out of time.
Well, they may,
We've done
yeah,
our
they
part.
are.
All they got to do is move forward with the agreement, Mayor, that we've already laid out for them.
They are not in agreement.
Okay, then we don't have an agreement. So they're running out of
Commissioner.
time. That's not a City of Quincy issue.
Thank you. Commissioner Wood, and then we're going to move on to the comments.
Okay,
Did you have your hand up? Excuse me.
Let me,
Right.
I'm sorry, okay, thank you. Let me clarify. The Boys and Girls Club, number one, it has to be a new build. We can't renovate any other buildings, so it does have to be a new build. That's part of that. The other clarification, the county in our meeting decided, there was a decision made. The county said that they want to build on their own land. If you were in that meeting, you heard that. So it has been a decision. The decision from the county was that they want to use their own land to build the Boys and Girls Club, because they do not want to enter into a lease agreement with the city. And I will put a period on that comment, because that's what was decided. They decided for us. The decision was reached. There was no limbo in my eyes. There is no vote for the city to take, because the county will take this issue up tomorrow at their meeting on where they want to locate the Boys and Girls Club. So I don't know where the confusion is, because they decided they want to build on their land. That's how we left that meeting, because they want the city to either give them the land without a lease agreement or not. It was an ultimatum, I thought. That was the ultimatum that was given to this commission and the city.
Why are we even going down this road again?
Because I did not hear the decision. I heard options. And again, the county, I agree, the
Thank
county
you,
will
Commissioner.
take
That's
it up.
good information to know, that a decision
Okay.
was made.
Yep, I know.
For us.
Okay. Moving on then.
No, I'm not through.
Okay. Commissioner Lane.
I
Because I didn't hear a decision made.
well, no, I'm not even going to argue with it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not argue, but let us hear from the county.
Yeah, because they're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll hear from the county in terms of that issue.
That's how it was left.
Moving on to comments. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Again, first of all, thank you to the staff for all the hard work they've been doing. They've really been getting it done for us. Very pleased with that. Thank you to our directors, particularly Chief Hill, Director Ash, Reggie Bell. Thank you guys for dealing with some issues that we had, and you resolved them very well. The City of Quincy, along with the Quincy Police Chaplains, will help to host the Juneteenth celebration of freedom, and it will include an end to gun violence unity and prayer breakfast. That's Thursday, June 19th at 8:30 a.m. at the Joe Farrelleger Recreation Center at 122 North Gray Street. Dr. Chelsea Matthews Franklin will be the guest speaker. Again, that is June 19th, 8:30 at the Recreation Center, and Dr. Matthews Franklin will be the guest speaker. And as you know, her husband is our representative, Gallo Franklin. We need to RSVP as soon as possible. There's limited space, so if you can RSVP by noon on Monday, June 16th, would be greatly appreciated. Just contact the city manager's office, specifically Ms. Shackelford. Our administrative offices, we will be observing Juneteenth at City Hall. I will provide more information in the future about what that looks like, but once again, we'll be doing that, and we'll make sure that we let our commissioners and our citizens know how to adjust accordingly. On June 18th, Wednesday, June 18th, Waste Pro will be sponsoring the Employee Appreciation Barbecue Cookout. That will be at the Quincy Parks and Rec Center at the same location, 122 North Gray Street. So we want everyone to come out and have a good time. So it's showing appreciation to our employees. Want to make sure that the commission knows, because you know, as always, you are invited. And that's all I have at this time. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. The barbecue is from 11:30 to 1:30, June 18th.
City Clerk? City Attorney? Commissioner Harris? Commissioner Dr. Wood?
Yes, just really quick, city manager. Could we look at, and we've talked about this, going into our new budget year, the paving on our streets, especially District 1. I noticed as I was leaving my house, there is something sticking up out of the road on McKelvey and the road that intersects McKelvey. I can't think of the street right now. But anyway, I'll get it and get it to you. I'm really worried about some of these roads that are beginning to crumble, so to speak. And that little area that I just mentioned, there are a couple of areas, but there is something sticking up out of the ground that people can run over. And also over by New Direction, there is a sewage, I guess the covering of it, I don't know if someone lifted it off, but it's wide open. It's a danger. If we could get them to look at that, that would be very helpful. I just noticed that on the way. But otherwise, I'll say happy Juneteenth in case I don't see you all before then. And with that, that ends my comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Knight, Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Stevens.
Thank you. Inasmuch as the City Commission, during our meeting on May 27th, complied with the provisions of 3.02 in our charter by holding a public hearing regarding the removal of the city manager, under the authority provided in Section 2.71 of our city ordinances, I move to suspend the rules of order and procedure set forth under Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 2, and I would make a motion that the City Commission end our current employment relationship with the City Manager, Rob Nixon, effective immediately. Section 2.71 reads, and I quote, "The rules of order and procedures set forth in this division, except as required by general law, may be temporarily suspended at any time by the consent of a majority of the members of the City Commission present at the meeting and eligible to vote," end quote. As we are covered by home rule authority provided for in Chapter 166 Florida statutes, I have found no general law that conflicts with this moving forward. As a part of that motion, I would also move that severance pay equal to 8 weeks of Mr. Nixon's pay be provided to him no less than 1 week from passage of this motion. Further, I move that the City Commission approve the appointment of Richard Ash to serve as the interim city manager effective immediately upon passage of this motion. That is my motion.
Second the motion. It has been moved and second that we suspend the that we,
Suspend the rules.
suspend the rules and terminate the city manager. Are you ready for the question?
Discussion.
Discussion?
Ms. Commissioner, there's a
Commissioner
motion.
Harris.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules in a non-emergency situation. We're going to suspend our own rules in a non-emergency situation in an effort to bypass 3.02, which is required, and to terminate the city manager immediately. Am I understanding that to be correct, Mayor?
The motion is to suspend the rules and terminate the city manager effective immediately.
Should we be voting to suspend the rules first?
Yes?
We can?
Yep.
We vote to,
So my motion is to suspend the rules in order to take up another motion.
second that motion.
Discussion. Do you think it is legally and in the best interest of this city to suspend your rules in an effort to terminate someone? I said that to say I'm going to ask if and you don't have to give me your best legal opinion, but I'm going to ask the attorney. Is it in our best interest legally to suspend our rules in an effort to terminate someone?
So we, say that over again, please.
Yes, the proper procedure would be, right now, would be a vote on whether or not the rules should be suspended to even get to the next action.
Correct question. However, I would like for you to or at least answer the initial portion. I think you may have. Is it in the best interest of this city, legally, from a legal standpoint, would it be in the best interest of this commission and the city of Quincy to suspend our rules in an effort to terminate someone?
But we have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. So.
I move the previous question. I move the previous question.
As in?
To vote on
the
the
question.
suspension of the rules.
Okay.
Is there a second?
No, that's a second. That has been, discussion has been ended.
There has to be a vote on ending the debate. There has to be a vote on ending the debate.
Procedurally, attorney, please.
Let me try to understand. The vote was to suspend the rules.
Yep.
Was the vote second?
Yes.
Then there's an issue for calling for the question.
I call for the question.
If call for the question closes debate.
Yes, you're right. There does have to be a vote, but it closes. No.
Attorney.
Okay, are we still in discussion?
No, we're not. Well, the attorney, it's
Made any
looking it
comments
up.
so far. My hand up.
Now, under 265,
And that's an individual commissioner. Any commissioner.
Is that 265 or is that Robert's Rule of Order, is that 265? 265, okay. Supersede
Okay.
Robert's Rule. Go ahead, you're right, thank you.
City clerk, would you poll the commissioners, the suspension of the rules. Mhm. Yes, would you poll the commission, please?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Suspension of the rules passed 3-2.
At this time, I would move that we have a motion, or I'll make a motion that the City Commission end our current employment relationship with City Manager Rob Nixon effective immediately. As a part of that motion, I would also move that severance pay equal to 8 weeks of his pay be provided to him no less than 1 week from today. That is my motion.
And I would second. Pardon.
I'm taking it one step at a time. Okay? So it is to terminate, he doesn't have a contract. Okay? We're terminating our relationship and employment status with the manager effective immediately, and that severance pay of 8 weeks be paid to Mr. Nixon within 1 week from today, assuming the motion passes.
It was second. It's been motion and second.
Discussion.
Let me repeat the motion and then ask for a question. It's been, it is moved, motion and second, that we terminate the city manager with severance pay of 8 weeks. And
To be paid within 1 week.
to be paid within 1 week. Are you ready for the question? You had, you had a statement requested
Previously,
for this discussion.
Yes, previously the commission had voted to approve an agreement with me in lieu of the contract, which was precipitated by a discussion on the evaluation. Also, it was not 8 weeks severance, it was 3 months, it was 12 weeks severance. So as of this point, there is an active agreement with the city commission, because if not, I would not have accepted continuing to work without a contract, number one. Number two, I do want some clarification, because you are changing the terms at this particular vote without rescinding a previous vote. So can I get some kind of clarification here?
What are we, Attorney, have we done a revision of his contract and it is current and up to date? The written contract? And he serves at the pleasure and at the will of the commission at this time. Okay. It has been motion and second. Commissioner, Dr. Wood.
Okay, discussion. City attorney, now in the last commission meeting, the vote failed, correct? So when you say we are suspending the rules of order So we don't have to do any of the bringing this back to the agenda, public hearings. We don't have to do any of those things when you, and my thing is we're setting a precedent here. Because once you go down this road, then you are setting a precedent that this could happen again and again and again. Commissioners vote on the dais, a decision is made on the dais, and then you can just suspend these rules and come up with your own rules. Mm-hmm. That's my question.
Dr. Wood, can I the motion at the last meeting was a tabling motion.
Yes.
And it died on a 2-2 vote. There was no vote taken at that time. There was no motions made whether or not to fire the mayor. Yes. That was the only motion that was taken up at that time. Sorry, I didn't have my mind.
So, okay, because I guess I'm looking at the legal implications of this. When you, I'm gonna leave that alone. I just feel like there should be some other conversation on that. If you could elaborate on that, that would be great.
And also comment on the
Attorney.
conversation that we had in terms of how procedurally, how this needs to flow, because we had a very intense discussion after that 2-2 vote, and you gave me some directions.
Yes, please, because this involves the citizens, so I want them to know.
Anytime you go by your own rules, procedures, it always helps for the purposes of any action.
Okay, thank you.
You going over the conversation we had in terms of my option given after a 2-2 vote?
Mr. Attorney, is this mic on?
Okay, so, and then another issue I have is this is not on the agenda, and it's typically on the agenda for the citizens so that they know that it's coming up. And I understand suspending the rules, but I sure hope this commission takes a hard look at this later. And I'm sure I'll get to bring it up later, because again, we set our own procedures, policies, ordinances, rules, all of that. And for us to suspend them, there probably will be some repercussions.
Okay.
And I look at the county and what happened there. And the question becomes, are they better off now? So I just want to be clear, and I want to make sure that the citizens are aware of the implications. You know, people have a one-track tunnel vision, but remember, the citizens are looking up to us. And again, we just got through talking about an evaluation, the fact that you have new commissioners that could not and should not be expected to do an evaluation, yet you have new commissioners that just got here that's so willing to terminate the city manager, and they just got here. So I just want to make sure that's on the record for me.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you. For the record, a submission of the item was requested, and I was denied, being the mayor and the presiding officer, with a 3-page explanation by the city manager, who did not call me prior to him ignoring or denying me the privilege of putting it on the agenda so that citizens would know. And in talking with the city attorney, we went over that item and that action, and what my alternatives or options needed to be. And the options were that I could have brought it up at the beginning of the approval of the agenda, or I could have brought it up during my comments. Am I correct, Attorney Roberts? Okay. So, see where we're going with this now. Commissioner.
Go on.
No,
Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm saying, just go ahead. I'm not.
I'm recognizing you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, because,
Oh, I mean, it's okay. I can wait. You ain't got to get flustered.
no, I'm not getting flustered. I did not see your hand up, and so, Commissioner Harris.
Thank you. Question, because I'm just trying to figure some stuff out here. Mr. Attorney, you had you counseled. I understand the mayor wanted to put this on the agenda, and she's saying she was denied an opportunity or the privilege to put it on the agenda. But how do you how do you gain the privilege to put something on an agenda that had already been settled and voted on that it could not go on the agenda? The motion to put it on the agenda for this meeting failed at the previous meeting, which meant you can't just call up and undo a vote that failed. Am I correct? Yes. Okay. Sure. Correct. 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 Correct.
If you do, an alternative to that was to suspend the rules and have it eventually.
Did you, I'm just curious, did you share that with the entire commission?
I did not share that with the entire commission, but I did share it.
So you shared that information with the mayor, who asked the question, and then it was shared with other commissioners who asked the same question?
Someone asked me about rules and procedure, I would share that.
Because I think I keep going into this sunshine law, and we are teeter-tottering on it. So I just wanted to know who it was shared, how it was shared, and how it happened. So I think you answered that question.
No, no, no.
I'm sorry, I
talked
was
to him.
speaking to the attorney. If I could just
Okay.
hear from him.
Well,
Thank you, because he's the one that put the information out. So I'm only speaking to him.
Let me just explain this. Whenever I have communication with any commissioners, city manager, clerk, it's on a one-on-one basis only.
Right, yes, I know that, but I'm saying the same, you said if they ask, because the same information.
Procedures and rules and things like that, I don't, I haven't shared what my thoughts are.
Right, I get it,
Mayor?
I understand.
Yeah, let me clarify.
I got
My
you.
conversation is with the attorney. Okay, and not to my colleagues on city business. Commissioner Stevens.
Let me make it perfectly clear, Dr. Wood. I did
Don't
not
call
hear-
my name, just speak perfectly clear. Do not say Dr. Wood. Just speak
Well,
whatever your truth is.
Commissioner?
Order, please.
Thank you.
Commissioner,
Just speak your truth.
someone is sitting up here trying to accuse me of violating the Sunshine Law. Okay? Oh, yes, you did. I have had no communication with anyone about my motions that I brought forward. Okay? I'm a smart fella. I know how to read ordinances. I have written laws all of my life. I did not confer with Mr. Roberts. I conferred with another city attorney because candidly, I don't trust you. We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm sorry. I think you're conflicted, but that's not the matter that's before us. And for somebody to sit up here and to insinuate that because I, on my own, came up with the same analysis that our city attorney did, boy, you're getting me upset. And so, you know, you can, it's very black and white. I have got all of my ducks in a row with all of my materials to lay it all out. And with that, I will move the previous question.
And let me clarify, I asked the attorney the question. I never called any commissioners' names. And the audience and this dais can attest to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners. Please preserve order and decorum as we discuss this very difficult topic. It's a difficult conversation, but we must carry forth the motion and the vote. And I'm going to call for the vote
Request to be recognized.
at this moment. City Clerk, would you poll the commissioners, please?
So we're just going, I don't even know what the motion is. Of course we don't know what the motion is. We're just doing anything we want to do right now.
Would you repeat the motion? City Clerk. Would you poll the commissioners, please?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes. The motion passes 3-2.
Mayor, I have another motion.
Yes, Commissioner.
I would move to appoint Richard Ash to serve as the interim manager, effective immediately upon passage of a motion.
Second that motion. It's been moved and second. Are you ready for the question? All in favor?
Question. Discussion.
Commissioner Harris.
Have we even had a conversation with Mr. Ash as to whether or not he will accept that position? How can we nominate an interim? I mean, how can we move to hire an interim who has not even agreed to it? Richard Ash is not even here right now. Has he said yes to anyone?
It would be,
Commissioner Stevens.
it would have violated our charter for me to have a discussion with him about that, because we're not allowed to talk to anyone other than the city manager, the city attorney, or the city clerk.
Correct. So.
And he has served as interim city manager before.
And so, no, he's never served as interim city manager.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
There's a difference. There's
What?
a difference. He sat in for the city manager. He served as acting. Never served as acting. Well, my question though is, if we don't know for sure that he's going to even, I just think this is I'm a curb my language, but this is backwards. We're going to nominate another city employee. I'm sorry, we're going to make a motion to hire another city employee, and I do understand the rules. No, you cannot speak to Mr. Harris. But we need, so, see, this is the bind we put the city in. So what happens if in the morning Mr. Ash says he doesn't want the position? What happens then? We come back here and we just start the circus all over again while the city still has to run? No transition period, no 30-day notice, none of that we're doing. We're just going to pick somebody out of the hat and decide we're going to hire them as our interim and hope that in the morning when he wakes up and come to work that somebody's going to notify him, oh, by the way, you're the interim city manager. Is that how we're running the city of Quincy? This is the help that everybody, this is the help that was on the way right here. Because what this is turning into is a flat-out clown show.
All right.
This is a clown show, is what it is. But
Thank
y'all
you.
got an agenda, and I'm going to let you run your agenda. I ain't going to stand in the way of it. We're going to move this motion and do whatever it is y'all want to do up here. But I can tell you right now, this is a flat-out clown show, and the city of Quincy is headed down the toilet. We are flushing this city down the drain.
Thank you.
And it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing that a mayor would sit up here, 50 years of government service, suspend the rules.
60.
60. My God. Jesus, 60 years. I like you started yesterday.
No. Thank you very much, and I accept your insult. Okay.
So, I have a comment as well.
No, I hadn't finished. Thank you.
After you finish.
Commissioner, I asked you to preserve order and decorum. And if you're going to call me out, you are on personalities, and I honestly don't know what your motive is. But as presiding officer, if you continue, I'll ask the officer to escort you out. Because you're attacking my personality, my career. I have a legacy, my history, and I really don't appreciate it. And it's not, and it doesn't need to be a part of this discussion. Thank you. I am competent. I don't take my competence from you. But I will say that you need to keep my personalities out of the discussion. And if you do it again, the officer is available to take you out.
I'm a grown man. I can walk out this meeting.
Okay, the person will escort you out.
I don't need an escort.
Okay, thank you. There's a,
If I may.
I was about to recognize you, Commissioner.
Well,
Dr. Wood.
he interceded with, there's a motion on the floor, my hand has been up. So
I-
who's running the meeting? Is it
I-
you or him?
I am running the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Hard to tell sometimes.
Attorney, will you instruct The commissioners. Commissioner Dr. Wood.
Thank you. Let me bring this back to some semblance of order here. Let's think about this, commissioners. You just got rid of the city manager. That was your choice to do. I have no qualm with that. However, my issue is, what is the plan? Because to me, it would have been better to offer an end date so that you can transition a new interim city manager into this city. Because as of right now, you don't have a city manager in the morning. I don't think you should appoint someone who has not been informed that they've been appointed to that position. It just seems like we are running a backwards race. Because still you can't talk to Mr. Ash. I mean, who's going to inform him that he is the interim city manager? Attorney Roberts, I really want to just get some guidance here, because I've just never seen it done this way. And I haven't been in government that long. However, common sense tells me that we need to make sure that the person that even accepts that interim position before you just put them out there to do this job, because it's a big job. So what is the recommendation? Who notifies him?
The attorney or the clerk can do that.
And if he declines, what is the next step?
We'll have a
There
special
is no
meeting.
next step because there's nothing on the dais that gives us the next step, right?
Have another
Attorney Roberts.
meeting.
There you go. Another meeting. All right.
There is a
Thank you
motion
so
and a
much.
second. Call for the vote. Roll call, city clerk.
What is the motion?
Would you repeat the motion, Ms. Clerk?
Question. Would that be dealing in day-to-day? He's still a city employee. Would this commission be giving a city employee direction at this point? Or no? I'm just asking.
Doesn't his job shift
I'm
to
just asking. Mr.
interim
Mr.
city
Attorney.
manager if indeed he agrees?
Will we be interfering in day-to-day at this point? Mhm. Gotcha.
Commissioner Knight? Okay.
But at this point,
We're going to carry the vote. Commissioner Harris, poll the commission. You'll be operating as the city clerk. You'll be operating as the city clerk. So, I'm just clarifying. You said you work in, and I said you'll be operating as the city clerk. So,
because this is so confusing, are we able to offer another name, or are we going to stick with the motion, or can there be? Are we making nominations at this point? What? I mean,
I called for the vote.
so
And she was going to poll the
so we won't be able to
commissioners
offer another nomination?
until we vote on the motion. And then you can offer up a motion if it doesn't pass. Am I correct, Attorney Roberts? I have already, yeah, I'm calling for the vote.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries 3-2. With the termination of the city manager, we ask that he gather his belongings, and the keys are collected, and that all city property also be brought and that his access to all technology will be terminated with the vote. So, a motion to adjourn, if there are no more comments. Meeting adjourned.